Hello and welcome to the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. We're here at Rowrah for round 6 and we have 10 fantastic races coming up here today on Saturday where championships could be decided. But before we get into all of that, let's hand it down to the paddock where our guest Sylvan Mincy had to talk to some of the riders.
Taylor Tomlinson. So Taylor, what has happened to the... Okay, we shall wait. What has happened to the side of your face?
I fell off my push bike.
How have you done that?
Oh no, I'm sorry. A lion came at me.
A lion?
Yeah.
In England?
No, in Africa. It teleported.
Okay, teleport. And so we've got Harrison Day here. So Harrison, how's your weekend been going so far?
Alright, a bit damp earlier, but it's okay.
Has it been going better so far?
As the season's gone past, yeah.
Okay, and what would you say is the biggest change that you've made this season?
Probably to my riding style.
What did you change in your riding style?
Just like, I was moving off the seat too much, so I would have to hold on tighter. And then...
Right, that's really good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and now we've got Riley here.
Hi, everyone.
And how's your weekend been going, Riley?
It's going good. I've only been out 2 sessions so far out of the 3, but I'm getting a feel of it. And this session, if it doesn't rain, I'm going to go on slick tyres.
Oh, awesome. And do you like this track?
Yeah, it's smooth. It's got a bit of everything, really. Chicanes, hairpins, fast corners, slow corners.
Oh, awesome. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going down here to Matthew and Holly. Matthew, how's your weekend been going?
Good. I've just finished a session. I've came 6th. That's the highest I've been so far.
And out of 10, what would you rate this track?
A 9.
A 9. Well, good luck this weekend, Matthew. Let's head over here. Black Cat Fitchett. Well, Luke, how's your weekend been going?
Oh, it's been going really well. I've had quite a good practice so far. It's been pretty wet, but so far it's been good, yeah.
And do you like this track?
Yeah, I have to admit it's one of my favourite tracks because of all like the fast, downhill and flowy sections.
And what's your favourite corner?
Probably the big fast kink at the top of the hill. You might be able to see it in shot just there. That's probably my favourite corner.
Makes sense. Well, good luck this weekend, Luke.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now we'll head over to Archie O'Brien, who's calling Luke Fitchett a loser. As we can tell, very close rivalry between the two. So, how's your weekend been going?
Not too bad so far, just focusing on the 70 as the 50. We've got some bike problems. Not really worrying about them too much and just hopefully get some wins in the 70s.
Okay, and what would you say is the best advice you could give to the up-and-coming riders on the stream?
Definitely ride the Minimotos early on and don't rush to get up to the bigger bikes. Learn how to ride them and all of the different traits you can get by learning them.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Archie. And what would you say you do for training? Do you do any training or stretching?
Well, apart from a couple of bike rides a week, nothing really, but just need to stay a little bit fit so you can muscle around the bikes.
Makes sense. Right, so we'll head on over to Frankie over here. How are you, Frankie?
Good, the bike's been a bit...
Oh, well, that's a shame. What's been going on with the bike?
I'm not really sure.
Would you say it'll be fixed for the next session?
Well, I'm going on my dry bike for the next session, so...
Oh, well, that's really good then.
Yeah.
So, if you had to give me one piece of advice for everyone here in the wet, what would it be?
Probably just to be determined.
And do you like the wet?
Yeah.
Well, good luck in the wet and the dry.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's find a couple more victims. Here we go. We have got Seth over here. How are you doing, Seth, on the MotoGP 50?
All right, yeah.
Well, you're one of the smallest riders in the class on the MotoGP 50. What would you say is the reason why you're on the 50 instead of in MiniMoto?
Because I'm there on big wheels and I like my gears better, and also, since I'm fast enough, they let me in.
Oh, well, that's really good. I'm quite glad that you've got much faster now, and bloody hell, you will be impressing everyone this season, I'm sure. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we've got Super Duper Seb. Thank you for the lolly. Right, okay, Seb, so how's your weekend been going?
Good.
And is this your favourite track?
Yes.
Why is it your favourite track?
Because all the twisty corners.
And I saw me and you done a challenge this morning, the seawater challenge. How did you find that?
Kind of disgusting.
But it's good for you though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll keep doing that. What would you say is the best aim you could give, or what is your aim for this season?
To have fun.
Good, well that's all that matters. Good luck, Seb.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are now on the hunt for more people. We've got Lucy Curtis, but we've also got Travis over there. Should we head over to Travis? Travis has been doing quite well this season. He's been on the upcome after struggling last season, so it'll be really interesting what he'll be able to do. Travis, can I grab you for an interview? Right, thank you. Okay, Travis, so how's your season been going, would you say?
Not too bad since it's my first year. I just want to get as many points as I can here now since I'm on track.
Okay, and how's your bike going?
It's going good. I just need to improve my pace a bit more.
Right, okay, and what would you say would be the biggest thing you need to change this season?
Maybe like confidence and like having more trust in the tyres and myself to like throw it around the corners more and like get more speed.
How do you believe you can achieve that?
Doing like just riding around, and then the more you get feels of the track, the more you can push. So I just try and get as many laps as I can today, and then I can get more pace for the rest of the weekend.
Oh right, awesome. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Right, okay, so we've now got Ronnie Harris, the awesome BTC person that is on my rival team. But how are you doing, Ronnie?
Good. Happy to be up here having a bit of fun.
Okay, and what bike are you riding today?
My 85. I haven't been out on it in a while, so it's usually had a lot of problems in the past, but it's just a bit of fun.
And is it working now?
Seems to be. So yeah, there's stuff that could be sorted on it, but it's been left sitting for a while, so it's expected.
Oh well, that's really good. So will you be battling with me on the track then?
Hopefully, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that, Ronnie. And I think we should carry on finding people. How does that sound? We'll go more into the paddock because you guys might not be able to see a lot of the paddock on stream. So we'll go deep into the paddock where I know where everyone else is. As you can see, Philip at the end over there. Blake Wilson on the MotoGP 70 after he just came in from the Extreme 200 session. So we might be able to give Blake a quick interview if he's not too busy, and Marco Hull. We'll go to Blake at the moment because Marco is debriefing with his dad. Blake, can we grab you for an interview, please? So he's a very busy man, as you can tell, grabbing his cap. Got to be professional. And as you can see, the main mechanic, the main man himself. And hello, Blake. So how's your weekend been going so far?
It's been good. Been testing a lot of stuff on the bike and it's been going well.
What have you been testing?
Changing gearing mostly, and just trying to get grips on the bike with weather changing a lot.
Okay, and you to grips with the bike now then?
Yeah, I think because it's drying up a lot, it's feeling a lot more comfortable out on track.
Is this one of your favourite tracks or one of the least favourite?
It's not my favourite, but it's one of my best.
Okay, and what would you say you'd be like to do in the 70s in the Extremes this weekend?
Probably win as much as I can.
Well, that's always the plan. Good luck, Blake.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll head over to Philip Zoroviak over here in the corner on the MotoGP Fun Bike, which I think has got a Husqvarna engine in, which we haven't ever seen before. We have seen Harvey Claridge riding it, but we haven't seen anyone else ride it, so it's going to be a really interesting weekend. for Philip on this bike. As you can tell, he's very far away in the corner, tucked away. But Philip, can we grab you for an interview? So as you can see, this is the MotoGP Fun bike, and this weekend, what's happened to the Moto 4?
I seized it at Kinsham the other day, so yeah, we just got everything done, and then it blew up, so that was great. And yeah, now I'm just riding this.
And what do you think of this bike compared to the Moto 4?
It's a lot worse in my opinion. It's a big mess pretty much. The suspension, the engine's weird. I need to get used to the bike. Even everything like the handlebars and stuff, it just doesn't fit. But yeah, you have to get used to it.
And will we see a return of the Moto 4 this season?
Hopefully, yeah, when we get it fixed.
And when will that be?
I don't know.
Oh, can't keep me on our
round. Hopefully next round.
Oh well, we hope to see a return. And what's the goal this weekend?
Just, I don't know, do the best I can, to be honest.
Well, good luck, Philip.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've actually got two little victims over there. We've got Lewis Hull and Finley Polehill. So, Finley and Lewis, can I grab you two for an interview? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Right, okay, Finley. So, how's your weekend been going?
It's going alright. The wet weather's a bit of a disappointment, but yeah, it's going alright so far.
Good, and what would you say is your favourite weather conditions?
I like it damp and a little bit dry, because I find that I'm better in the mixed conditions.
Okay, well, what would you say is the goal this weekend?
Podium.
Okay, well, I wish you good luck on that, and I must ask you one question. What's your favourite bike, actually? Because you're a rider that rides in MotoGP 50s and 70s, so what would you say?
I quite like the 70, mainly because of the speed, and I find it's just a bit more enjoyable to ride when the 50's got so many people riding in it.
And what would you say the best advice you could give to the viewers on this that would like to get involved in FAB-Racing on the MotoGPs?
Definitely have a go, but keep practicing.
Okay, well, thank you for that advice, Finley. And we'll head over to Lewis Hull. So, Lewis, you're one of the front competitors in the LC40 MiniMotos, and how's that going?
Very good, thank you. I'm enjoying it so far. We just need to keep going, really. It's just been a tough year, a couple of mechanical failures. Need to just keep on the podium.
All right, well, that looks very good, and you have been doing really well, as I've seen. But you're probably you're the biggest rider in the Minimoto class, and probably even would be the biggest rider in the MotoGP. So, what would you say is the plan for later on this season?
Hopefully top 3 in the championship by the end of the year, and then maybe next year move on to the MotoGP 50s.
Will we see any practice on the MotoGP, or?
No, probably going to do it over the winter.
Okay, well, good luck for that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I've seen two kids over here, one in a Red Bull KTM hat and one which I know is Tyler. So Tyler and Josh, how's your weekend been going?
Pretty good so far.
Yeah. And how about you, Josh?
Amazing so far.
So is this your favourite track, guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do you like this track?
Because it's like my style, there's tons of bends and fast, wide open bends.
Oh, well, that's really good. And how about you, Josh? Why do you like it?
It's a really fast flowing track.
Is this your favourite track, guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really good. And what would you say is the goal this weekend for you, Josh?
First place maybe, second.
Okay, well, good luck for that. And how about you, Tyler?
Probably top 10.
Top 10. Well, that sounds like some awesome goals, guys. Good luck and hope to see you soon. Okay, so we'll head over. Yeah. Okay, so guys, well, thank you for doing the Paddock interviews, and hopefully we'll see you soon in the next one. But I must say, I think I should be a commentator now.
Marco Holt, round 6 at Rowrah, and it is looking like it's going to come down heavily this weekend. How are you feeling? Looking forward to the rain?
Well, I'm not overly bothered with it really, because earlier on we weren't running too bad in the wet, so we've got the pace. It's just getting that little bit more of pace. So.
No, this is a track you're pretty fond of. You've had some good results here in the past. You're looking to repeat that this weekend?
Yes, definitely.
And obviously, objective, win as many races as you can, I assume so.
Yeah.
So notice, not to be too rude, but I know you've got a little bit of fairing damage on your bike. I know you had a little bit of an off this morning. Maybe a bit of confidence knock, or are you still feeling good, still feeling happy?
Nah, still feeling good.
Just pushing the bike a little bit too hard, getting to know your limits maybe.
Yep, exactly.
So obviously you're sitting pretty comfortably in the moment in the championship. You're looking just to keep that going into the final few rounds of the season?
Yeah, we just need to be consistent really, because we've got Luke, Blake and Archie ahead, but the battle from fourth to second is really close, so yeah.
So it's just about getting those points and getting those consistent results and trying to claw your way forward.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Marco, and best of luck for this weekend.
Thank you very much.
So we're here with our championship leader, Byron Johnson. It's trying to get away from us with the camera, but Byron, you can wrap up the championship this weekend. How are you feeling?
Good.
And obviously this season in the LC40 Elite, you've been really dominant. What do you think it is that separated you from everyone else in the field?
I think I've just been a bit more dominant than everyone else.
And it's your second year in the LC40 Elite. So obviously racing with your brother last season in that class. Has your brother gave you any advice to be able to help you get this championship?
No.
Not at all. And your bikes are just behind us, both your Minimotos, one wet, one dry. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about them?
So, I mean, this one, the clutch fell apart earlier today. So we've had a bit of issues with this one, but this one's like the last year, like what my brother won on last year, which is a lot faster than that one.
And so what one of these are your wet bike?
Pardon?
What one of these would normally be your wet bike?
This one.
And is it just a case of changing the tyres on it, or what's different?
This one's a little bit slower and calmer, to get the throttle on.
And we're at Rowrah this weekend, obviously with the chance of wrapping up the championship. Is this a track that you enjoy? Is this a track that you usually go good at?
It's my favourite track to ride.
And why is this your favourite track?
I just like it because it's flowy.
And if you have to pick a corner on this track, what do you think is your favourite corner? Because there's a lot of different ones. There's hairpins, chicanes, it's got a bit of everything.
I quite like the second hairpin.
And we've seen you lead a lot of races this season, up at front by yourself. How do you keep composure and how do you keep focused whenever you're that far ahead?
I mean, I just ride till I just wait till the finish comes.
And everyone else this year that you've been racing against, who would you say has been your biggest competitor in the championship or your hardest rival to beat?
I've had a few. I've had Lewis and Harrison Day and Taylor Tomlinson.
And speaking about the future of your racing career, what is your plans for 2024, or do you not have anything set in stone just yet?
We think we'll do the 50s, just the 50s on its own.
And how's the 50 going? Of course, a geared bike with a clutch as well, and there's a lot of technical details to riding a metric machine. So how's that been changing from the Minimoto?
Earlier, it's weird because you have to do more gears. Or you have to do the gears, and on these you don't have to really do anything.
And how would you say your seasons went on the metric machine?
It's been good. I think I'm third in the championship at the moment.
And looking at any inspirations in motorsport, in motorcycle racing, who would you say has really inspired you to keep racing and first of all get into racing?
I mean, when I was a kid I always used to watch Rossi race.
And hopefully you'll be in the MotoGP paddock, and hopefully you'll be a world champion just like Valentino Rossi in the future.
Yeah.
Well, thanks Byron, it's been great talking to you and we wish you the best of luck this weekend, and hopefully you can wrap up the championship in the LC40 Elites. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we've been walking around the paddock here at Rowrah and we've managed to stumble into Oliver Hall over here. So, Oliver, how are you feeling looking to what is currently cloudy but not too wet Friday here at Rowrah?
It's alright. The first session, it was a little bit slippery, but the second session I crashed. But got straight back on, as I do, and just tried to get a good lap in.
That's great to hear, and obviously it's looking like the rain potentially going to come down tomorrow and on Sunday as well. You may be hoping for a little bit of rain or hoping that it stays dry over the course of the weekend?
I'm hoping for it to be wet because I am strong in the rain, and both of my bikes are very good, so they're good pulling out of the corners and things, so it's good to have some wet and some dry.
Well, let's hope for the best, shall we? And what's the results that you're looking to achieve this weekend? You're looking to get in some points, maybe get some podiums?
I'm hoping to get 3 seconds like last round, but I doubt it's going to happen. But we're going to try and see the best position that we can get.
Come on, you've got to stay positive now, surely. 3 seconds, is that the goal?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Oliver, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Now then, of course, at FAB-Racing we have plenty of young riders racing with us, and we have two of them here, Caelan Ratcliffe and Max Johnston. So starting off with Max. Max, of course, you've had a great couple of years in the AC40 Rookies. How's this season going in 2023?
Yeah, alright. Fifth in championship. And yeah, confident on my bike. Got new levers on, which is nice. New fairings. Bit new everything, but yeah, just looking forward to see this weekend. And steady on and just see how we do, yeah.
And this weekend here at Rowrah, it's looking to be a bit mixed conditions, some rain potentially appearing in the forecast. So are you looking forward to that? Is rain a type of condition that you would rather?
Well, wet's my favourite. I like the wet because I just find lines easier enough than that. But yeah, see how we do in the wet. I didn't do too good in the wet today in practice, but we'll try tomorrow if it rains on Sunday and see how we go from there.
And of course you mentioned you have brand new levers for this weekend and they're looking great. So have you had to break them in at all? Of course a lot of these riders, they don't feel comfortable until you've wore them at least a couple of times.
Well, we feel comfy enough, so that's good.
And you mentioned rain is your favourite condition. Why do you think that is? Is it maybe because you're smoother on the motorcycle, or really what sets it apart for it to be your favourite condition?
Well, in the dry, my riding style is a bit different to everyone else, and I think my riding style fits perfect to the wet conditions, and that's probably why I'm good and smooth in the wet.
And as I mentioned, alongside you is Caelan Ratcliffe. And Caelan, you've had a great season so far in the Rookies. You've been at the front consistently this year. So what do you think it is that's allowed you to make that step near the front of the field? What improvements have you made anyway? What do you think it is that makes you so fast?
Because my bike and it's fast.
And is Rowrah a circuit that you're enjoying?
Kind of, not really, but I think I'll do better in the races than I am in practicing.
And what do you not like about Rowrah at the moment?
That the corners are very hard, especially the last one, which is, I'd say, the hardest corner on the track.
And we've obviously spoke to Max about rain. Are you wanting it to be raining as well this weekend, or would you rather it stay nice and dry?
I would rather it staying really nice and dry.
And do you not enjoy the rain so far this season, if you've had experiences in it?
Yeah, I don't really like the rain because it's just slippy, and I don't really have the riding style for the rain.
Well, hopefully Max can teach you one or two things about riding in the rain. Hopefully, as friends, you guys can improve.
Thank you.
Well, guys, thank you so much for that. But now, just alongside you, so first of all, why don't you tell everybody what your name is, what class you're going to be racing in this weekend?
I'm in the Rookies and I'm Arthur, you know.
So we're here with Arthur Rich, racing in the AC40 Rookies. Here at Rowrah, of course, I believe it's your first time being at the circuit, so how are you enjoying it?
Really good. I really like the track.
And what is it that you enjoy so much about it?
I love this. You're quite fast in the corners. I quite like that.
And in the AC40 Rookies, it's a massive field, a lot of riders and a lot of different levels of riding capabilities. So how has it been racing in that class this season?
Really good. I'm really enjoying it.
And this season, who would you say has been your biggest rivals while you're on the circuit?
Probably my brother and Daisy and Henry, probably.
And you're racing, of course, as you mentioned, with your brother, James Rich. So how has it been having a family member out on track? How's it been racing with your brother?
Really good.
And do you maybe leave a little bit in the tank? Do you maybe back out of a move if you think it's a bit too risky because it's your brother?
Yeah, probably.
And so far up to this point, is this your first really going racing, or have you done any racing before here at FAB?
This is my first season.
And what have you learnt most so far this season?
Probably my racing line and accelerating points and braking points.
And finally, who's your inspiration in motorcycle racing? Who do you look up to at the moment, and who do you aim to be like?
Probably Top Rack in World Superbikes.
So Top Rack Raz category, your levers look very similar, and we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you can have a season like Top Rack's having this year and winning some races out on track in the AC40 Rookies. Now then, we're here at the back of our paddock actually with Jamie Alexander and Martin Hills, one of our sidecar teams, and it's their first season this year, and we spoke to you a couple of rounds ago in your first meeting. And well, Jamie, first of all, how have you found it racing in the Mini F1 sidecars here at FAB?
It's been enjoyable, good fun, great crowd, just enjoyable, great fun doing it, hard work, but yeah, loving every minute of it.
And if I remember right, you're not the passenger, you're the one that's doing all the controls, the throttle, the brake. So how's that been? How have you found the partnership with Martin?
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's been really hard, but it's enjoyable learning, learning steep curve. But yeah, it's going reasonably quite well so far. No issues.
And you spoke about the learning curve. What would you say has been the biggest learning curve for you? What's been the biggest thing that you've had to learn in a really short space of time?
Just how unflexible I am to actually move and get the gear changes. Most of the work I do isn't that sort of irrelevant. It's Martin learning what I'm doing. So he's mostly in control. As I say, I just do the gears and the brakes, but he actually controls what I do more than what I do, if you know what I mean.
And well, Martin, as I said, you're the guy in control on the sidecar. So how's that been being the passenger? Have you got used to being crammed in such a small space?
Yeah, I got used to being in a small space. We've made some adjustments to the handles again so I can hold on a bit easier. But like Jamie said, it's a big learning curve. We haven't done this before, so it's just every lap we go out is new. It's, you know, we learn everything from that, basically, and we're learning each other. So, yeah, it's going well.
And looking back at your first weekend at FAB, what would you say you've changed the most about your riding style and as passenger and sidecar from that first weekend?
It's not so much the riding style, it's more the sidecar itself to suit an easier position to be able to put myself where I need to be. So, yeah, as I say, we've done a lot of modifications 2 or 3 times now to the handles. So now I can get further out on the right-handers and further out on the left-handers without losing grip, basically. So, yeah, that's about it, really, on the handling side of things.
And, well, ergonomics on sidecar, as you said there, is really important to stay on for quite long races, to be honest, on these little kart circuits. So how's it been physically as a passenger?
Exhausting. Exhausting. It took me about a week to be able to walk properly after the last race I did. I missed Wales, but I was out on the last one, and yeah, it really took a toll on my legs. But hopefully, with the new handles and the different positions, I'll be able to get myself in a better position. So it shouldn't be too bad, hopefully.
And well, if I remember right, last weekend you guys did get a podium in the Mini F1 sidecars, if I'm remembering correctly. So what's the aim for this weekend?
Well, Jamie got a podium because I wasn't there, so he had Isaac Greenstreet on the sidecar. So I want to get a podium this time.
And well, Jamie, are you going to do one better? Are you potentially even a second or first? Will we see maybe even battling with Greenstreets or McWilliams?
Well, I'm definitely in that good yet. I just want to go around, and if I can get on the podium, I'll be happy.
Well, best of luck to you too, and we hope this weekend goes well, and we hope that you guys are enjoying the Rowrah circuit.
Yeah, we'll enjoy it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Now, the man in the middle of the O'Keefe family, and the one that I'm told is the crasher as well, it's Ben O'Keefe. Ben, how are you feeling looking forward to Rowrah this weekend?
Feeling good, apart from coming off on both sessions this morning, so I'm a bit bruised and battered. But it's great being out on these motorbikes. So we've come from the 140s last few seasons ago, so it's great having a different bike and having some fun with a different paddock.
I mean, obviously, it's very, very different from the 140s, these bikes. You know, what's the difference like, especially around a track that's as tricky as Rowrah?
Well, I think there's a lot of similarities. You fall off in much the same way from a pit bike to and it hurts just as much. But yeah, it's just literally first time out, so it's getting a feel of the bikes and seeing how they go. But it's a different feel altogether. But there's a lot more power. Yeah, a lot more power, a lot more fear. And but thankfully, we've got a Mr. Sean Whittaker, our guru, to guide us through.
And what's your hope for the weekend? I assume probably stay on the bike as well, judging by the sounds of things.
Pretty much it. Complete a round if I can, and hopefully stay in front of these two. That's the big one.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Ben, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
Here we are then with what is supposedly the oldest man in the FAB-Racing paddock, Gary O'Keefe. And Gary, pleasure to have you with us this weekend at Rowrah. How are you feeling looking into the weekend?
I'm very, very nervous. I'm quite scared. I just want to stay on, basically.
So I assume you're hoping for it not to rain then?
praying for it not to rain, but I can't see it not happening. I've no wet tyres. I'm racing on road tyres only.
Well, aside from the nervousness, I mean, are you enjoying your time here so far? I mean, Rowrah, it's a great track. Obviously, it's very tricky.
I've enjoyed the last session because I've stayed on, and no members of my family have actually come off this session.
That's good. Obviously, you're here, the O'Keefe family are all here. Are you guys all looking to achieve some good results this weekend?
We're hoping for the first O'Keefe podium in our family's history, and that man over there, Harry O'Keefe, is the man to deliver.
Well, why not Gary O'Keefe? Why can't you do it?
Because I'm 15 seconds a lap slower than the fast lads. Maybe less, but yeah, I'm struggling.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. There's still plenty of time to get used to the bike and the track, plenty of time to increase your pace. So I guess the goal this weekend is just stay on the bike and have some fun then.
Stay on and go home in one piece like this, yeah, that's me, yeah.
Well, hopefully you can keep yourself on the bike. Hopefully you can get an O'Keefe podium this weekend as well. Thanks for talking to us, Gary.
No problem, thank you.
Chris Wells, round 6, Rowrah, how are you feeling?
All good, mate, thank you. Yeah, annoying changing tyres so much this morning, but hopefully this dry weather stays for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I think the whole paddock's hoping for that one, but what's your plan coming into this weekend? Just pick up some good results, pick up some points, maybe a podium here and there?
Yeah, so looking for a steady weekend this weekend. Just need to maintain the lead I've got in the championship, so yeah, hopefully strong weekend, come away with a few points and podiums.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's definitely the plan, points and podiums. Rowrah, obviously, it's been fairly happy hunting ground for you in the past. So is it a circuit you're particularly fond of? Is it maybe just a bit challenging or just one that gels well with you?
Last year was the first time here, and I think it was top 4s and I think a podium as well. But yeah, really like the track. It's almost a home round. It's the closest one at 3 hours. So yeah, nice to be here again.
And again, obviously hoping it stays dry, but if it does rain, yeah, it is staying dry, we say, fingers crossed. But if the heavens do decide to open, what's your plan? Is it going to be one of those answers, just stay on the bike and try and survive, or is it you're going to be fighting all the way through?
Yeah, battle of attrition, stay on the bike, just bring it home and yeah, watch the carnage in front.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Chris. Best of luck.
No worries. Thank you.
Now we are with the youngest O'Keefe, although I'm not entirely sure he's the youngest in the paddock, judging by the young man on his shoulder. We're here with Harry O'Keefe. Harry, how are you looking? How are you feeling, rather, looking into this weekend?
Yeah, it's been a while, so it's good to be back. But yeah, slowly getting more confident.
Gary was feeling rather worried about staying on the bike this whole weekend with the rain coming down. Are you maybe feeling a little bit in a better place than that?
Yeah, better now the sun's out a bit. But yeah, definitely nervous about coming off in the wet. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it is a treacherous circuit out there, but it must be a lot of fun to ride as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely good to get out there and yeah, have a laugh again on the bikes.
And of course, we've got 3 O'Keefes with us this weekend. Maybe in the future we'll have a 4th one as well, as someone's having a bit of fun there. Is the plan maybe to get him on the bike in a few years' time?
Yeah, he's free now, so I think another 2 or 3 years, and yeah, hopefully we'll get him on the MiniMoto Rookies and see how he does.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much, Harry. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
So now then, we're here with Rhys Gentry. And Rhys, you've not got any levers on, there's no bike here, and well, you've done a bit of damage to yourself, so why don't you tell us exactly why you're not racing this weekend?
So after Ella, a bit of a high side, smashed up the wrist, unfortunately a bit of surgery, a few plates, but it's all off now, so back in this plate now. This comes off anyway, but rehab, and then hopefully maybe last round of the year, maybe, if I'm lucky, but we'll see how that goes.
And how's the recovery been so far since that crash? Because we were just watching it there, and it was a pretty monster high side, to be honest. It flicked you right over the top.
Yeah, no, I've had 2 weeks now since it's come off. So, yeah, rehab every week. So it's just about getting the movement back in it and then the feeling back in it. So once I've got full range of motion again, then I'll jump back on a bike and do some practice days and stuff. But until then, I'm just going to hold off. There's no rush, really, otherwise you're going to do more damage. So, yeah, hold off. Once you've got full movement, then hopefully back out there.
And, well, this weekend, you've not got any levers on, as I've already mentioned. So why don't you tell us what your role's actually going to be this weekend? Or are you just going to chill back and relax here at Rowrah?
Oh, wow. I think chilling out. He's mechanic, I suppose. And just generally watch. It's nice just to watch the other lads, go around, watch them, film them. have a few beers, beer o'clock. So help me old man along with his lines and stuff, and just general maintenance of the bikes and stuff, and help anyone else around the grid really. So a bit more chilled out for myself, a bit more like myself time, but same role basically, is what I'll be doing here, but just a bit more relaxed. So
And you mentioned that you're hoping to be back for the end of the season if it's possible. If not, you'll wait till 2024. So 2024, are you planning on just staying in the senior Minimotos and kind of doing what you're doing this season?
No, we've been in the background. We've got 2 Metro kits, so Moto team for us next year. Are you Extreme 200s or Moto team?
Yeah.
We don't know. Moto team for me, maybe Extreme 200s for him. So next year, 2 classes, hopefully, if the wrist does it.
And, well, of course, Rob, your son's a little bit injured at the moment, so you're the only rider this weekend. How are you feeling going into Rowrah?
Yeah, good actually, quite confident this weekend for a change, so trying a new few things on the bike, so just need to get my corner speed up and then I'll be all right.
And Reese on the spanners, is he a good mechanic?
Well, time will tell really, so we've had no breakdowns yet, so the answer would be yes then.
And, well, going into Rowrah, are you enjoying this circuit so far? You've done Friday practice. Not all the senior Minimoto guys do practice. So what have you learnt so far here on Friday?
The first thing, it was really slippery with the wet and that. There's a bit like glass out there. So it's now drying out, so everyone's going on the slicks, so it'll be a different ball game now. Speeds will go up now, so timings will come down. So, all good.
And this season you've been on track with your son Reese, so how's it been racing on the same part of the circuit, racing in the same races as your own son? Do you maybe leave a little bit reserved from him, or do you just go all out and treat him like all the other competitors?
The only time I see him is when he's lapping me, so if I look behind and he's there, I'll make sure I get out of the way and not get in his way, and then try and get in the way of the other riders.
And speaking about your season up to this point, how would you rate it? Is it gone exactly how you expected, or is there some room for improvement headed into the end of the season and the final couple of rounds?
Yeah, unfortunately with me, there's always room for improvement. The bikes have been great this year. We've not had many DNFs. So for me, it's been a cracking season. It's not all about the racing for me. It's about everything here with FAB. So I just enjoy the whole thing really.
And well, we wish you the best of luck for this weekend. We hope it all goes well, and we hope they enjoy the Rowrah circuit.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
We are here then with Henry Brodie at round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike Championship. How are you feeling looking into Rowrah, Henry?
Good. It's my first time here.
And how are you dealing with the circuit? Obviously, it's your first time here. It's a circuit that a lot of riders come to. It's very, very challenging in its nature, and a lot of riders struggle when they come here for the first time. Do you think you're getting the hang of things?
Yeah.
And what about the weather? It's sunny right now. Looks like it might rain on Saturday and Sunday. Are you hoping it stays dry? Maybe you're hoping for a little bit of wet weather, spice things up?
Yeah.
Did you like riding in the wet then?
Yep.
That's great stuff. What's your plan for the weekend then? Get out there, score some good points, get some good results, maybe get a podium, maybe a win?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Thanks very much, Henry. Best of luck this weekend. Henry McCartney here at Rowrah on Friday. Sunny at the moment, not going to be for much longer, we don't think. How are you feeling looking into this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going all right. I mean, I've switched classes this round. Last round we had a mechanical issue at Landau, and I think we've just sold all the match kits, and we're just looking on to bigger things next year.
So you're just focusing on the Extreme 200 class for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we're just mainly here to have some track time, have some race, build up some racecraft, and maybe have a good battle with some of the other riders.
Well, I mean, if you want track time, Rowrah is the perfect place to do it. It's such a challenging circuit. Is there any particular part of this circuit that you enjoy, or is it one you're not a fan of?
Yeah, it is a really good track. I mean, like, the scenes around it is nice, and there is one downhill corner. It goes into a right. I think that's one of my favourite corners so far.
What's the difference around here between the dry and the wet? Obviously, as I said, very physical circuit, lots of undulation, but when it rains here, it really comes down, given the nature of the track and the quarry. What's it like when it starts coming down?
I think it's quite slippy because there's a lot of go-karts that go around here, and go-karts make it grippy in the dry, but as soon as the rain hits the extra rubber, it starts to go really, really slippery. So you just have to mind, like, you can go in really fast into the corners, but you just have to make sure you stop it mid-corner.
So what's your objective for this weekend then? Obviously 3 wins, 75 points, go home happy?
Yeah, we're just here to have some fun really. We come here, have some track time, but hopefully I can get a win.
Oh, best of luck for the weekend. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
So we're here with James Dermott, a newcomer to the FAB-Racing Championship this year. And James, why don't you tell the people at home how you're feeling, what you're riding on this weekend, and how your season has gone so far?
So today I'm riding the Bladder Ultima and I feel really good. This is the first time I'm doing an interview, so...
Well, you're doing a really, really good job, James. How are you feeling here at Rowrah? Obviously, it's a very, very tricky circuit, very hard to learn, even harder to master. Do you feel like you're getting the hang of things?
Yeah, ever since I have became a FAB Championship rider, I've been loving my bike so much that I just want to ride it every single day.
Well, I think everybody in the paddock would say the same thing. And what are you hoping to achieve this weekend? What's your ideal result?
That every day you should go racing and like try to go as fast as you can on the straight and try not to high side on the corners, because I've done that many times.
Well, it's all part of the learning experience, James. Unfortunately, everyone has a tumble off the bike now and again. But looking forward into this weekend, you may be hoping to get a few podiums, maybe even a win here or there?
2 days ago when I was at Stratton, I got my first ever third place trophy, and ever since I've got my first trophy, I've been wanting to race every single day. So
That's brilliant. Well, best of luck this weekend, James, and thank you for talking to us.
it was lovely talking to you too.
So we're here with 3 of our junior riders in the Gentry on and still, and at the moment we have Mason Frederick. So let's start off with Mason. So Mason, you've had a great season, and actually a great recent couple of rounds. You've been right at the front of the field, going on the front row in qualifying. What is it that's made the difference?
Probably practicing quite a lot. I don't really know.
And how are you feeling this season? It's been quite a good season for you. You've been battling for race wins. So are you enjoying this season? Is it going how you planned?
Yeah.
And well, this season we're here at Rowrah, of course. Is the Rowrah track that you're enjoying currently?
Actually, it's my favourite track, so yeah, so I'm hoping for a good weekend.
And what makes it your favourite track?
I like all the chicanes and downhills and uphills, so yeah.
And you've been riding in a couple of the practice sessions. How have they went, and what are you aiming for this weekend?
I'm aiming for a win, at least 1 win, but mainly 3 wins. And the practice sessions, first one, I got second, but unfortunately crashed. And bent a handlebar. Second one, crashed twice, and bent another handlebar. So we only have 1 handlebar left. And then last session I got 5th on my dry bike.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for this weekend, Mason. We hope it all goes well for you.
Thank you.
And we're here with one of our newcomers once again, and now we have Tommy Williams as well in the middle of our picture. And Tommy, how are you enjoying this weekend?
Really good.
And your first season racing in the AC40 Rookies, how has the class been to ride with?
A lot of struggling and a lot of hard work to do everything.
And this season, who has been your main rival? Who's been the hardest person to beat?
Freddie, Danny Longhurst and James Arthur.
And what are you aiming for this weekend result-wise?
Coming in the top 10.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for that, and we hope that you enjoy the Rowrah circuit because it's a really tricky track.
Thank you.
And also we have James Rich, and James, we were speaking to your brother Arthur, and he was saying how much he loves riding with his brother on the circuit and in the same race. So first of all, how are you this weekend?
Quite good.
And this circuit, is it a tricky one for you? Is it a track that you enjoy?
I quite enjoy it.
And this weekend, chance of raining. How are you in the rain?
Actually, not very good in the rain.
And why is that?
Last time I was in the rain, I kept on crashing and slipping off.
And you have your levers on at the moment. You've obviously done some practice on the Friday. So how's practice went so far?
Quite good.
And why is that?
First, The first round I was today, the first session, it was quite good. The second session, my bike stopped, and that wasn't very good.
And do you know why the bike stopped yet?
No.
But hopefully your parents can get that fixed and hopefully you can be back on track. And of course, we'll be watching all you guys on track this weekend. A massive grid for you guys. So best of luck to all three of you. And of course yourself, James.
Thank you.
Ready? Back at Rowrah then, Jamie King, Pit by Sonic. How are you feeling looking into what is hopefully going to be a dry weekend?
Yeah, been absolutely mega today. Felt really confident in the wet and we've topped both sessions in the dry. So it's probably been my best day in a very long while, to be fair, especially in the dry. So feeling confident for the weekend so far.
So yeah, really hoping it stays dry, then hopefully get back on the top step of the podium. If it does rain, what's your plan then? Just again, maximum attack and try and stay up there?
Yeah, the championship's kind of gone this year because we've missed a few rounds due to other things. So it's just go out for the win at the moment. So yeah, we haven't won since I think 2020, COVID year, Ella Park. So it'd be really nice to get back on the top step. We had so many seconds, so many thirds. It'd be really nice to get back on top step.
So I guess that's your plan, get back to your winning ways and mount another championship challenge next year, maybe?
Yeah, 100%, that's the plan. We've had our first full season on the CW, so next year, hopefully, I've got a few upgrades, so hopefully the bike will be spot on next year and we'll be fighting for the top spot of the championship again.
Brilliant stuff. And obviously Rowrah, it's a pretty tricky circuit out there. Obviously it's one you know well. You've been around for quite a while now. Not a comment of your age, of course, but it's a tricky track out there. But obviously you're running very well. Is there something about this track that you just enjoy? Is it just a challenge? Is it just one that gels well for you?
I feel this track's got a bit of everything. We've got the tight hairpins, we've got the real fast flowing corners, and we've also got the up and down corners. One of my favourite corners is the fast right hander. I think it's about third corner to the end. I think I call it the waterfall, but it's a real amazing corner, and it's my favourite track of the season. It takes me so long to get here, but it's well worth the long trip.
If I cast one back to 2021, I think that fast right-hander may have been the one where you destroyed our onboard camera. So maybe try not to do that this time, please.
Yeah, hopefully it'll stay dry and we won't have those problems again. So, I got a bit too keen on that corner, shall we say, that year. Hadn't won a race again that season, so I was like, wet race, I gave it all or nothing, and unfortunately it was nothing.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Jamie. Best of luck out there this weekend.
Thank you.
Championship leader, Jensen Ansell, how are you feeling coming into round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship?
Fine.
That was a very confident find. Do you like it around here at Rowrah? Is it a track you like?
Yeah.
You're hoping for some rain, maybe? It's looking like it might rain Saturday and Sunday, or are you hoping it stays dry?
Hoping it stays dry.
That's fair enough. It is very tricky around here in the wet. So what's your plan for this weekend? Come in, win all 3 races, extended championship lead, go home happy, I assume?
Win every 3 races.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Jensen. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Well, the sun has finally come out, Mr. Kai Hawkin here at Rowrah, and we're hoping it's going to stay that way for the rest of the weekend. How are you feeling looking into round 6 of the championship?
Confident. I just went down to third in the championship, but hopefully I'll get back in second, and I do quite like this track. Yeah, I had some good practice sessions, so feeling good about it.
So it's just one of those ones where hopefully get out there, get some really good results, and hopefully take your babe back up second in the championship.
Yeah.
And looking at the remainder of the season as well, obviously you've got a couple rounds still left, so you're still confident you can fight your way back through and hold on?
Yeah. I'm feeling confident about that, yeah.
Great stuff. And what do you like so much about here at Rowrah? It's a very tricky circuit. So is it just do you like the challenge maybe?
Well, it's just I didn't really like it before, like last year, but like I think it's just I like the wide and like the flow of it.
Maybe it's the fact you've improved as a rider as well, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much, Kai, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
Hello and welcome to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. My name is Lewis Ray, and alongside me for this weekend, and the first time this season, is Mr. Ross McIntyre. And we're here at Rowrah. It's an excellent circuit, and as you've heard there from some of the riders, they're really excited for the action to get underway. And Ross, a couple of qualifying sessions still to go at the moment, but it's looking to be an incredible weekend of racing with times super close.
It is indeed, Lewis. It's an absolute pleasure to be back alongside you, of course, here at FAB-Racing for round 6 of the 2023 season. As you said, it's looking like it's going to stay sunny for starters, which is something that nobody expected coming into this weekend. Everybody was checking the weather apps, checking the radars, and it just said rain, rain, rain. And what do you know, we turn up and the racing gods are smiling down on us. So it's all going to stay dry, which I think many of the riders are happy about. And as we get into the final few qualifying sessions, it must be said, their times are looking tight out there. It is very, very close. It's a very tricky circuit here at Rowrah. Lots of undulation, lots of camber through the corners, and lots of very tricky yet fast corners as well. But it's a track that all the riders absolutely love. And you can tell that when you get here, everybody in the paddock just has a little bit of a spring in their step, of course. It's the most northern round of the season, so maybe the drivers from the northern parts of the UK are a little bit happier because it's a bit more close to home as well. But brilliant to be back here at Rowrah, and can't wait to go racing later.
Yeah, it's one of the most scenic circuits that we have here at FAB, and currently on track we have the qualifying tour of the Moto Team class, and then we'll get into the racing. We have about 10 races coming up today, and yeah, as we were saying, times look very close. Grid numbers as well, still massive. In the MiniGP 50 class this weekend, we have 23 riders, and last time you were here, Ross, it was slightly smaller than that, and that's one thing we've seen in 2023, is the classes, some of the grids anyway, exploded in numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see, of course, you know, the more the merrier here at FAB-Racing, but it's great to see, you know, maybe last year was still a little bit of that COVID hangover potentially, obviously after those lockdown years, as we like to say, but it's great to see, you know, 23 riders in the MiniGP 50 class. Last year there was 8 of them here, and again, being the most northern round of the circuit, for those guys in the north, it's great. You know, it's only a couple hours drive. For the guys in the south, a lot of them don't come up, for those who are based in the south of England and in Wales, because it's such a long drive. But we've got a massive paddock here this weekend, and that is great to see as we do get into the second qualifying session for the Moto Team class. Of course, both the open and standard class within this category, 2 different classes, all racing on track at the same time. And as always with Moto Team, it's all about the bike. It doesn't matter who's riding it, it's all about the number and the team and where they finish in the championship as we get going in this second qualifying session.
Yeah, currently in this session, Team Acne Racing is at the top by a whole 1.5 seconds. It's a really technical track, so it's one of those tracks where the rider makes a difference. Even if you're on an underpowered machine, it's the rider that can make it up, because here at Rowrah, there's a couple of straights, but really they're not that long compared to some of the other venues that we go to. For example, Lid has far longer straights than what we have here, and far faster corners. Here it's a real tight, twisty circuit. Plenty of hairpins as well, and plenty, and most importantly for us here in the commentary box, plenty of overtaking opportunities.
Absolutely. I mean, every single corner here at this circuit you can overtake at. If you're feeling really, really brave, you can have a dive into the first corner up at the chicane, which is completely blind. It's uphill. If you make a mistake there, it can really, really damage your momentum and your run down into the McRae's hairpin. And as well, if you're maybe feeling a little bit feisty, you can shove your opponent out and they can lose multiple positions. And again, coming up into the Erdale's hairpin as well, another big overtaking opportunity. Into St John's as well, if you're feeling very brave, and into Paddock Bend, that big right hand 180-degree sweeper, the final turn of this circuit. We've seen moves here on the final lap before, and of course in FAB-Racing anything can happen, so who knows what we'll be seeing in terms of the racing action as the checkered flag comes out for the Moto Team second qualifying session. Team Acme Racing looking to be on pole position overall, and in the open class, of course, we will get the grid merges confirmed for you later on, and as always the grid is the same in all 3 races. So the order that we get here, and the final order for the qualifying, which we should have on hand shortly, that is where everybody starts for all 3 races across the weekend. The first race today, and the second and third races on Sunday. Team Ernie the Badger coming home in P2, and then Team Burt, the first of the standard classes, they'll be in P3. Of course, you're not missing any of the racing action today. We've still got a few qualifying sessions left to run. And as the Moto Team second qualifying session comes to an end, why don't we take a look back to the last time out, Lewis? Obviously, I may not quite have been there, but you are, so I feel you're more qualified to talk about it than me, even if I was watching along. We saw a great weekend of action, and again, lots of excitement coming into this weekend as a result of the changes in the championships last time out.
Yeah, plenty of exciting action last time out, and we had some big changes really in the way the championships are looking heading into this round. And actually, one of our closest championships at the moment after the last round, heading cruising into Rowrah is our premier class here at FAB, the LS2 Helmets MiniGP 70 Championship. A 23-point lead is all it is between Luke Fitchett and Blake Wilson. So it's looking incredibly close, and it looks like as the season's just slowly progressing that it's going to be a dramatic end to the season, because as we said, round 6 of the season, only 2 rounds left, plenty of points still up for grabs at the moment, but there's still a chance this weekend championships can already be decided.
Absolutely, there are a few championships that mathematically can be taken care of as we just wait to get the next qualifying session going. One of them that we're looking to potentially see wrapped up in race 2, potentially in the LC40 Elite, as the Extreme 200 qualifying gets going. Filip Sorowiak, the first rider out on the circuit. The LC40 Elite, of course, this season, it's all been about one man, and that man is, of course, the one and the only Byron Johnson. He's currently got a 172-point gap in the championship. If he leaves Rowrah here this weekend with 151 points to his name, he is the champion. He cannot mathematically do that in race 1, but he can crown himself champion in race 2 with a good result in race 1. If he finishes the second race with 176 points or more, then it is done and dusted. And again, if he wins race 1 as well, that just increases his chances even further. So we have to wait and see what Byron Johnson can do out there in the LC40 Elites. There are a couple other championships that could be wrapped up as well. The senior MiniMotos, and yeah, they could certainly be done this weekend, although maybe a little bit of a taller order for Josh Burke, and the gap at the moment only 121 points to Will Howarth in P2. But of course, that 151 point gap, that's the magic number that you want at the end of this weekend. We've got 5 bikes out on circuit at the moment in the second qualifying session for the Extreme 200s. Blake Wilson currently with the fastest time of 54.112 out there. Filip Sorowiak in second. The other guys not quite yet setting a lap. Of course, many different bikes in this Extreme 200 class. It's kind of the catch-all category here at FAB-Racing. You've got guys coming out on their 70 machines. You've got guys coming out more pit bike style bikes. So it really is interesting to see. And again, this is the one that a lot of the guys from the British Talent Cup come back and do this. That's why we're seeing people like Filip Sorowiak and Sullivan Mounsey back here at FAB this weekend, you know, getting some track time in a different style of riding, but also having some fun, seeing some old faces and some old friends, and also showing us what they can do out on track.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's been a great season so far, actually, in the Extreme 200 class. As we've seen, though, year on year, it fluctuates quite a lot between grid numbers and who is racing that weekend. But one rider who's stayed consistent and consistently won races this year is Sullivan Mounsey. He leads the championship in the Extreme 200 class with 7 race wins so far this season. I'm sure this weekend he's going to be hoping to add another 3 onto that and get into double digits in the amount of wins he's taken on the number 4 machine. But at the start of the season, between Mounsey and Casey O'Gorman in their double-header round at Lid, we had a great battle between the two of them, but Casey O'Gorman has different duties this weekend, actually, and he announced a wild card at Cadwell Park, and he's doing actually the rest of the British Supersport season with the OMG racing team, and on top of it all, he's also doing the rest of the Junior GP season, racing in the European Talent Cup. So incredible stuff from our British Talent Cup champion of 2021. But speaking about British Talent Cup riders, there is Sullivan Mounsey and there's Filip Sorowiak. Filip Sorowiak this weekend, he looks to be on the exact same bike, actually. He raced last year at Rowrah itself, and Harvey Clarge's bike it was then. And he's had quite a lot of bad luck this season, has Filip Sorowiak, with his Honda that he's been racing in the Extreme 200 class. And he'll be hoping none of that this weekend, because it looks like in this class we're going to get some good battles, because we've got Henry McCartney, Marco Holt as well, and Filip Sorowiak, Blake Wilson, Ronnie Harris, Sullivan Mounsey. Every single rider in this field is extremely talented.
Absolutely, it is a fierce grid. Even if it's only 6 bikes, that is one that makes you look at and think, what could happen here? I mean, again, looking at the times on the table at the moment, Filip Sorowiak just gone fastest with a 49.629, first times in the 49s in this second qualifying session. Blake Wilson right in his tail, Ronnie Harris close as well. Sullivan Mounsey just getting to grips, I think, a little bit. He's about 3 seconds off with his last lap, and we know what Sullivan can do, so I don't think that's a true representation of his pace. Of course, again, leading the championship this year at the moment. He's having a dominant season so far. He won all 3 races last time out at Glandau, and he's doing a superb job. And again, obviously, even though Casey O'Gorman isn't here this weekend, he's off doing his BSB GTs over with his wildcard at Cadwell. He's 92 points back in the championship. And again, Zach Tarim, 100 points back in the championship as well. Blake Wilson is the next rider that we have out here. He's 5th place in the championship at the moment. He's 130 points out. But again, we can't really call anything in the championship with the Extreme 200 because the riders also come and go with every single round, because you've got BSB riders coming back, British Talent Cup riders coming back, as there we see Philip Soroviak, who is putting the hammer down at the moment. Of course, his best time currently sitting on the top of the session with a 49.629. Last year's champion of the Extreme 200 class, winning by 66 points in the end with a very successful season. Hasn't quite entirely gone his way this year, but again, we know the boy can ride a bike. We know what he can do out on track. We've seen him here at FAB before. We've seen him over in the British Talent Cup. He is an absolute wonder to watch out on circuit. And although this season may not be going so well for him in terms of the championship, we know he's going to go out there and give it his absolute all, and currently again sitting on the top with a 49.629. Of course, we'll get all the qualifying times confirmed for you once they've merged the 2 seconds. Popping a little wheelie there as well just to confirm, but I think it looks like he might be coming in. He's not pushing 100% right now. It's just under 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go in the session.
Yep, just under 2 minutes to go, as you mentioned there, and Philip Soroviak looks like he's either having a breather or coming back into the pit lane. He's certainly having a play out there on the circuit, and Sylvain Mensey also going pretty slow, so pretty much all the riders right now pitting, so maybe some rain might be in the air, but
as
hello and welcome.
Marshall putting on a coat as well.
Exactly, and so yeah, some more drama to add into the mix, but hello and welcome. If you just joined us, you've not missed anything yet, and the rain is just starting to fall at round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. It's dramatic as always, and what can happen now, and what would you do as a rider now? Really, you've just got to set out, because it's only 45 seconds left, not even enough time for you to do a lap, so that's their session really over. And Sylvain Mensey, he can only look on to think what could have been, because Sylvain Mensey will be could be starting from last place in the Extreme 200 class, so 6th place in that session from Mensey. Philip Soroviak at the top by half a second, so it's definitely going to be dramatic in that class. As you can already see, the sidecars waiting there in the holding area and waiting there with probably slick tyres in.
I'd assume slick tyres out on the sidecars, and you can see there Mick Williams, obviously the eternal sidecar champion, although maybe not for much longer with the challenge that he's had from the green streets this year, standing there looking rather forlorn, it must be said, unsure what to do as they get ready to get riding once again. Of course, Mick Williams, he's got a new passenger alongside him this weekend after an injury to his normal passenger last time out. We believe it should be Jack Coulter's heading out for this session and for race 1 as well. He's got 121 points lead in the championship compared to the Green Streets in 2nd place, but the Green Streets, after years and years and years of chasing and working, they won all 3 races last time out at Glandau, and we know that Mick Williams, he struggles in the wet. We know the sidecar isn't particularly good at wet. Look at the spray coming up off the bikes as well. It must really be hammering it down out there, as there we see the sidecars making their way out for the 2nd qualifying session. Of course, we wish all the best to Michael Elms after his injury and a speedy recovery, and we hope to see him back on that number 26 bike with Mick Williams in the near future. But for now, Mick Williams, he's not only having to contend with the rain, but he's having to contend with a new passenger on board as well, and that can be very, very difficult. So we're going to have to wait and see. It could be another clean sweep for the Green Street. Who knows? And again, with the championship getting closer and closer, we are going to have to wait and see. As we see some of the marshals watching along, of course, a big thank you to all the marshals here this weekend, all of the medics and the marshals who are out there doing a fantastic job. We really cannot thank them enough. We cannot go racing without them. So a big thank you. As there we see the number 26, the reigning champion, and the man currently in the lead of the championship in the Mini F1 sidecars, but for how much longer, making his way around. No lap times have been set yet, and you can tell it is really, really lashing it down out there, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the reigning champion Mick Williams in the rain at the moment. They're going to have an interesting couple of minutes really, because 5.5 minutes remains in this Mini F1 qualifying session. Q Q2 for these guys, and there are the green streets, constantly gaining in confidence. Obviously, these conditions, it's almost impossible to have any confidence because it's changing every single lap, every single corner actually, but it's really hammering down at the moment. And that's exactly what we've seen actually over the past day. Even yesterday on Friday during practice day, there was rain on and off when we're travelling to the circuit, at the circuit. So plenty of drama to unfold here at Rowrah. So these guys heading round, and at the moment 8 of them out on circuit, and a good number actually for the Mini F1 sidecar class. It's a class which has been constantly expanding over the past couple of seasons, and we've had people like Jamie Alexander and actually right now Isaac Greenstreet out on that machine. They claimed a podium last round. It's Jamie Alexander's first season in the Mini F1 sidecar class. So right now Mick Williams, he looks pretty slow, so he could be coming into the pit lane to end his qualifying session, or maybe even trying to change to wet tyres, because 4.5 minutes left. If you're going to change to wet, really you should have done it at the start of the session and went out for the final couple of minutes. But these guys of course also had a Q1 earlier on, which was in the dry.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the qualifying, the grid order rather, is decided by the merge of the 2 qualifying sessions. It's the average of your lap time. So who knows who's going to be on pole? It's currently Vince Bailey with Amy Tilbrook on the sidecar sitting on top of this session. Fastest time, a 1:14.735 is there we see. That's the Hoskers going slowly, smoke billowing from the engine. Hopefully everything okay on that 127 machine. Managed to get it going again. We know they've had a few mechanical problems this year. Hopefully everything is all right, as there is the 369 of the team currently sat on top of the session with Vince Bailey and Amy Tilbrook on the machine with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. It is absolutely coming down. You can see just how wet it is. Wheel spinning, trying to come out of the Stewart S's. There is just no grip for the riders out there at the moment. And we just simply don't know what was going on. Again, it wasn't supposed to rain. It was supposed to rain, and it's not raining, and now it is absolutely hammering it down. And given where Rowrah is, of course, it's the most picturesque track of the year. Yes, it's gorgeous. It's sat in an old quarry, but when it rains, it absolutely pours, and the water runs down off the hill and onto the circuit. And again, there's so much undulation here at the track as well. There's so much up and down, so the water just pools in certain areas of the track. Vince Bailey, though, last time out, a 1:12.966, a new personal best. The green streets sticking into second with a 1:14.892. Mark Parker on the 230 machine, he's currently sitting in P3, the 1:17.1. Mick Lay fourth, the 1:17.198. Very close there, just under a tenth of a second away from Mick Lay. And Jamie Alexander and Isaac Greenstreet on the 11 machine at 1:17.9 in fifth. Mick Williams dropping and tumbling down the order with a 1:18.425. Then John Hosker on the 127. Hopefully they've got their mechanical issues sorted. They're currently sitting in P7 with a 1:24.8. And the Impies on the 457, they're in P8. And last, but of course not least, with a 1:28.1. Still got 2 minutes left to go in this session though, Lewis, but now it's all about the conditions. What can you do with colder tyres running over that wet track surface? Almost definitely on slicks, these guys, unless someone's made the last minute gamble and stuck wets on in record time. And changing wheels on these sidecars is not the easiest thing in the world to do, so kudos to them if they've done that.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult task to do at the moment, but a difficult task for Vince Bailey and Amy Tilbrook is to keep it on free wheels, because right now a 1:12.689 last time around, so constantly going faster and constantly stretching their gap at the top of this session. Now 2.2 seconds over Jason and Leo Greenstreet, but as you can see, a little moment there twitching as soon as they tap the throttle, so that's very, very difficult for these guys. As soon as they start to lose any type of temperature, actually it looks like as well Amy Tilbrook's visor is slightly steamed up, so they're going to be struggling with that one. More to add into the mix, but now proper spray coming off the back of that sidecar. You can hear the rain hammering down on the cameras outside the circuit, but at the moment in this session it's going to be tricky, especially if you're waiting to go out there. Next couple of sessions we still have 2 or 3 qualifying 2 sessions to go at the moment. Still the pit by 140s after this as well, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to do on the wet tyres, or if everyone's even going to bother going out, because as we've seen with Rowrah, conditions can change hour on hour, and by the time the race comes it could be nice and sunny once again.
I mean, given the nature of the circuit as well, there's so many riders out in the Fab paddock who are so strong in the rain, and you mentioned the words rain and Rowrah in the same sentence to them and their face just turns grey. It is not a track that is for the faint of heart when it starts coming down, but it is such a fantastic circuit, and I still think the riders are going to go out and give it a good go. Vince Bailey still on top of the session with 15 seconds left to 1:12.689. This could really shake up the qualifying order in the Mini F1 sidecars. Again, it's an average of both sessions that decide your grid spot for all 3 races, and given that we have a spread of over 15 seconds on the grid at the moment from the top of the order to the bottom, that could really shake things up. I mean, Mick Williams down in 6th with a 1:18.425. That could be a disaster for him, especially with the Green Streets now hunting down that 26 machine in the championship. And you can just see how well it is coming out of the Stewart S's. It is just so damp. The bikes desperately trying to find grip. The riders holding on for clear life on the 369. Checkered flag is waving in this session. I think most of the other riders have called it a day and made it into the pits. So it looks like it should be Vince Bailey and Amy Tilbrook on the pole, or finishing on top of the session rather, as Jamie Alexander fails to improve. As there we see Lee Clowes, the flag marshal, waving the checkered flag. Does Vince Bailey improve as he crosses the line? No, it's a 1:13.2. But with the best time of a 1:12.689, it is still top of the table at the end of qualifying 2. And of course, we will get the final grid spots for you as soon as we have them confirmed. But wow, what a session there from Vince Bailey and Amy Tilbrook.
So impressive there from them, and actually so impressive to still be able to keep it up on 3 wheels and look so confident. Even right now, they're looking as confident as ever, and looking actually more confident than what some people did in their fast laps. So Vince Bailey and Amy Tilbrook, perhaps today can be their time to shine, drifting it out of one of the hairpins on their cool-down lap, but they'll head into the pit lane with the yellow flags out to signify slow down and to enter the pit lane. But the rain still hammer it down at the moment. So the pit by 140s, which will be next out for their qualifying session, it's going to be very tricky for them, and they're just going to have to take conditions as it comes. Who knows, halfway through the session the rain could stop, track could start to dry, but as you mentioned, with the hills, it really runs into this circuit, and we are essentially here at Rowrah in a big bowl.
Yeah, we are indeed. Bikes in the bowl, as some would say. It's a wonderful track. You know, it's one of my favourite karting circuits in the entire country. Even just standing and watching the challenge that the riders have to face is such a joy, and it really separates the wheat from the chaff, especially the further up the classes you go. And when you start getting to, you know, the adult classes or the senior classes like the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship, it really does separate, you know, the top riders from everybody else. And when it starts raining, it just really increases that further as well. And the curbs as well, that's another thing you got to watch out for. The curbs here, very big. The pit bike guys and the top 70s riders can take them if they're brave, but once it starts coming down, you want to stay as far away from those things as possible. They will spit you up and chew you out, and you will go flying off your bike, which obviously nobody wants to see, as we are just waiting for the pit bike 140s. Doesn't look like anybody's lining up in the dummy grid at the moment. Again, it's a merge of both qualifying sessions. Oh, we have got a few riders there, actually. They're just hiding away in the rental car shed, trying to avoid the rain. Of course, wet tyres on all of the bikes as we get ready to get going. This is another championship that mathematically could be wrapped up this weekend. Chris Wells does have an 82-point gap in the championship. Again, 151 points is the magic number that you want to leave Rowrah with if you want to be crowned a champion here at round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. And Chris Wells, he is 82 points ahead of Lucas Brown in P2 at the moment on the number 7 bike. But again, that's mathematically. Realistically, we're not quite sure. We know Chris, he is fast round here at Rowrah. He's had some successes here in the past, but Lucas Brown, again, he's also done very well here before. Cast your mind back to last year, Lucas Brown won the first 2 races and got second in the third, with Taylor Lawrence just pipping him to the line, while all Chris Wells could do was kind of just finish outside of the podium in 4th and 5th place in all 3 races. So this could be Lucas Brown's time to strike back and maybe claw back some of that championship gap as we do get going for the second qualifying session of the Pit Bike 140s.
Pit Bike 140s out on the circuit, and as you mentioned there with Chris Wells, it's really been consistency has been key this year for him to be leading the championship. He's had a total of 10 podiums and only 1 DNF throughout the whole season, which in a class like this is extremely impressive, because we've seen battles of 4, 5, 6 bikes for the race lead, and at the moment only Bailey Lawrence, James Ratcliffe and Jamie King have made it out onto the racetrack. So super impressive from the guys. The team get the wheels changed in time, never mind brave it out on the Rowrah circuit. But you have to take us come as Jamie King actually already off the circuit and looking to be rejoining. So pretty difficult stuff, and this circuit hasn't always had the best of memories there from Jamie King as he looks to already be retiring and coming back in to the pit lane.
Ooh, I hope that's not a problem for Jamie King, stopping the bike there on the pit entry. Have to push up it. Hopefully everything is okay. Rowrah, not a circuit full of happy memories here for Jamie King. He's had a fair few big accidents over the years, but he was feeling very, very confident coming into this weekend. When we spoke him walking around the paddock yesterday, he topped both of the first practice sessions, which were in the dry, it must be said. And but Jamie also said, he likes this track. He likes riding in the rain. Although it's not been a track that's been kind to him in the past, he's looking to get back on his horse and get going. Hopefully, take his first win since 2021, as well. Of course, the four-time FAB-Racing champion Jamie King, bit of racing royalty here in the Fab paddock, and he'll happily tell you about how he had a lunch with Marc Marquez a few weeks ago. That's the circles that he operates in nowadays. But obviously, we're hoping for the best for Jamie. I'm sure he can go out there and give it his best, and again, hopefully get his first win since 2021. He did manage to finish third overall last time out at Clandau, 2 second places and a third place as well. He's currently sitting P6 in the championships, but he's 172 points away from Chris Wells up the top. Again, he's not had the most consistent year, unfortunately. It's been his first full season on his CW bike, which was new halfway through last year, so still getting to grips with the new machinery. But it's great to see Jamie, coming back in with a spring in his step and a shine and feeling confident coming into this weekend.
It certainly is, and Pitbike Sonic looks like Sonic now. He's got a Sonic helmet, Sonic levers, and he's looking incredibly confident. He's actually been getting closer and closer to the front guys, because over the past couple of years the Pitbike 140 class almost has made a step in the speed of the class, and Jamie King now just starting to get his mojo back. He's switched bike manufacturers a couple of times throughout the past couple of years, so now he's just trying to get some consistency on the machinery he's on, and then hopefully he can have consistency with results and just slightly bridge that gap to the front three riders. But actually at the moment, James Ratcliffe, the number 40 machine on your screen, he's currently top of the session, a 1:06, a whole 8 seconds quicker than anyone else out on the circuit, and it's set a lap time. Keaton Payne also has now exited the pit lane, so more riders coming onto the circuit, and hopefully more riders going to be facing these tricky conditions, because you really need to try at the moment just to try and learn what you can on this Rowrah circuit, learn where the grip is as well in case if it starts raining earlier. But now coming across the line is the 112 of Keaton Payne. He goes into second position in this qualifying 2 session, just 2 minutes remaining for the Pitbike 140 guys, and now racing is starting to get closer and closer with just one more qualifying 2 remaining.
Absolutely, and that's the one that everyone's waiting for. It is the LS2 helmets Mini GP70 British Championship, unless it is the 50s, apologies actually, that we've got coming up afterwards. And that, should I say, the Mini GP50s, 23 bikes this weekend. Last year we had 8. It is phenomenal how many of those guys we've had turn up this weekend to Rowrah, and it is looking super close. We've been keeping an eye out on the practice sessions and getting close in the championship, close in the racing. It's such a phenomenal category. Of course, the first step up onto geared bikes for these young riders, and the first step really into their true motorcycle careers after stepping up from the MiniMotos. Of course, FAB-Racing is the place to be for that. Of course, we are officially on the road to MotoGP, awarded to us by Dorna after the 2019 British Talent Cup grid was filled with over 60% of FAB graduates. And here's a stat for you, Lewis, as well. Since 2019, every single season in the British Talent Cup, the top 3 riders have all come from FAB-Racing. So, if you're watching at home, fancy coming along, having a go, or maybe you've got a young one who fancies getting started on their motorcycle journey, FAB-Racing is absolutely the place to come.
It certainly isn't. It's where the talent starts. It's where the learning starts. And right now, these riders still learning the conditions. Zach Tureen, at the moment, he'll be hoping to fight for a race win, and that's why he's out in this session, to get a bit more track time in these wet conditions. You just do not know what it's going to be like in race day. 30 seconds, though, remaining. So Zach Tureen only can get one flying lap around this Rowrah circuit. Even that, though, is going to be pretty tight as he comes around the final corner now. You can just see bike the bike he's on is almost fully upright going around the corners. He's still trying to get those tyres up to heat, up to temperature. It's now just 10 seconds remaining. So anyone's going to cross the line is going to have to be pretty quick to not hit the checker flag. But at the moment, the next coming up, as you mentioned, the main GP50s. Now, a lot of these guys, they're rookies to the class and rookies to geared bikes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they get on in the wet conditions and how they get on riding a geared two-stroke bike in the wet. It's always very, very tricky. But now, Keaton Payne, the first rider to cross the checker flag, and now he finishes the session in second position. James Ratcliffe still at the top of this session. His last lap actually was the fastest lap of the session, a 104.9 from him. Zach Terine, what can he do though? Because if you compare this to his last lap, to his build-up lap, it is definitely a completely different day almost, it seems, because he's looking far more confident than what he did at the start of the lap, and already he's starting to push on the number 89 machine. He's been battling quite a lot as well in the Extreme 200 Championship, just in the pit bikes it seems this weekend as he comes around the final corner. What can he do? Where will he go? He's not set a lap time just yet as Zach Terine, but third position goes Zach Terine, and an impressive time there from him after just one flying lap. But that is the checker flag out for these guys, and already we're looking forward to it. We're going to have a bit more mini GP50s hitting the circuit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, it's all dependent on the weather and who feels confident. Again, given the nature of the qualifying format here in FAB-Racing, where you merge your average lap from the two qualifying sessions, sometimes it's just not worth it to go out, so we'll have to wait and see. But we are seeing a few riders already making their way into the holding area before they make their way out onto the circuit. Of course, that's why they also form up before they make their way down to the grid and get ready for the green flag laps. Of course, as you said, the mini GP50s, many young new riders in that championship this year. You can be as young as 9 and make your first step on geared bikes. And, these things, they're not slow. A two-stroke liquid-cooled 50cc engine capable of 80 miles an hour at full chat. Not sure they're quite going to hit that here, given there's not many straights around Rowrah, as the green flag wave saw the final second qualifying session of the weekend, but that is still very, very fast. It's officially 60% more power than the MiniMotos that they'll have come up from. So it is a big, big step with, of course, that manual clutch 6-speed gearbox, which you've really got to get used to. They're essentially small Grand Prix bikes. Mini GP, the clue's in the name, and it's great to see, these guys getting out there and really starting to learn the ropes, and and then hopefully getting up to the front, progressing up to the top, the Premier Class, the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 Championship, and then hopefully onto the British Talent Cup and beyond.
Now, at the moment on the circuit, we have Cal Maxwell, Dylan Terine and Luke Fitchett out on the racetrack for the qualifying 2 session for the Mini GP 50 class. And Luke Fitchett, actually, the only one of the top rounds at the moment out in this session. Luke Fitchett currently second in the championship. 68 points, though, behind Marco Holt. It's going to be a tricky one with only 3 rounds remaining to be able to close in such a big gap to such a fast rider. Currently, Luke Fitchett, just 1 race win to his name so far this season. So Luke Fitchett has been consistently at the top, but he's just been unable to beat Marco Holt in the majority of the occasions, and that's how he's managed to escape at the front. But more riders coming onto the track. Byron Johnson and Travis Shaw also joining these guys, so 5 riders circulating, and now another rider coming out of the pit lane. So they're constantly building. They've had enough time now to change the tyres, perhaps in the pit bike 140s, just not enough time to really change the tyres for it to be worth it. And there as well, Tyler Hartley, he had a small tip-off earlier on in the practice session at the final corner, but he's out now in the wet conditions and learning the ropes. Cal Maxwell as well, he has been learning all the way throughout the season. That's the main thing about this class. It's really where you start to learn your skills before you move up. But you can see Tyler Hartley racing with one of the, well, what's to be almost a 2019 replica of the Yamaha MotoGP bike. So hopefully he can translate the results that they had that season with the likes of Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales out on the circuit and out in these wet conditions.
Yeah, let's hope it's the 2019 replication, not the 2023 replication of Yamaha's MotoGP results, as Byron Johnson goes fastest of 1:11.289. That's 6 seconds faster than anybody else. Wow, what a phenomenal lap there from Byron Johnson. Wow, that's really, really fast, isn't it? Of course, Byron currently sitting P3 in the championships. He's 142 points away from Marco Holt. Archie O'Brien also clinging on to that championship fight in P4. Last year's vice champion is 145 points away. Of course, it's very tight up the top in the MiniGP 50s. You know, those four guys at the top, they're really fast. Of course, Luke Flatcap Fitchett, last year's champion. Archie O'Brien, last year's vice champion. Marco Holt, he's leading the championship, 68 points. He probably feels like he has a point to prove this year. Last year, he was vice champion of 2021. Last year, it felt like it was his time. And then, unfortunately, sustained a big injury while racing down in Spain and had to miss a fair few rounds where he was recovering from that and ended up winding out third in the championship. So it almost feels like, you know, it's rightfully his time, but he's still got to get out there and go and, you know, put the rubber to the road and take those victories. But he's been phenomenal so far this season. 2 wins last time out at Clandown in race 2 and race 3, with Byron Johnson winning race 1. Last year, this was one of the rounds that he missed, with Archie O'Brien taking his first race win in this category in race 2, and Luke Flatcap Fitchett winning race 1 and race 3. So Marco Holt, it's been a little while since he's run around here at Rowrah, so it'll be interesting to see how he feels coming back to this circuit for the first time on a bike since 2021. If my memory serves correctly, he did have a rather successful weekend that season, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do. But again, 6 to 8 point gap in the championships. It's not over and done, but it's quite a comfortable margin at the moment.
Yeah, it's redemption time at the moment for Mark Holt, trying to almost replicate what we had at the start of last year, where he was so successful, and it's defending time for Luke Fitchett. Now, Luke Fitchett, not only is he defending a title in the MiniGP 50 class, but his defending on the circuit all season has been incredible. We've seen it last season as well. That is how he's able to keep such great race wins, to be honest, is he can just overtake them, keep the race lead, and just keep it there. That's what almost Mark Holt's realised, and he spent the first couple of laps shooting off onto the distance. But right now in this session, just 2.5 minutes remaining, with Byron Johnson just hit the top as he crossed the line with a 105.795 last time around, 1.5 seconds quicker than number 7 Luke Fitchett, but the number 37 of Byron Johnson on the top. Super impressive. He, of course, is battling for a championship this weekend and can potentially take it in the LC40 Elite class if he takes a lead of over 151 points leaving this round.
Yeah, that would be a very, very successful weekend for Byron Johnson. We'll have to wait and see what he can do, but he is absolutely flying at the moment. Out there on his first full season in the MiniGP 50s, and he's out there fighting for a championship. Just unreal stuff. And of course, trying to replicate his brother Austin, who had a phenomenal season last year on the LC40 Elite, taking the championship as well. The two brothers, close friends off track, close rivals onto it. Austin currently sitting P6 at the moment in the championship. He is still mathematically in the championship fight, but it's 174 points away from Marco Holt. It could be all over for him this weekend in terms of being around in the championship, as Byron Johnson, another fastest lap on the 37, a 104.993. That's 2.3 seconds faster than anybody else. The young man just so confident in these conditions. He's absolutely flying. When you just see the quality of riders out on track as well, it is amazing how fast Byron is going in these conditions. I mean, he's beating the guy like the likes of Luke Fitchett, again, last year's champion of this category. We know he's fast. Tyler Hartley goes into third place with a 107.794. There's so many great riders out there at the moment. Marco Holt actually has ventured out onto the circuit. He has not set a lap yet, but with 40 seconds left to go, he is out on track trying to see what he can do. Maybe the conditions improving. It does look like there's a slight dry line forming. Byron Johnson, though, is just absolutely on it at the moment.
Yeah, Byron Johnson on it at the moment, as the number 37 still at the top of this session, but right now 24 seconds remaining. Marco Holt setting his first lap time of the session and going into 6th position, as there is Frankie Watson, as Byron Johnson just crosses the line now on the 37 machine and goes on to what will be his last final lap of the session on the 37 machine. As there we have the number 73 of Simmons, and it's been well, I believe it's actually his first round of the season on the number 73 machine, as there is Marco something coming off his helmet. Actually, I've not had the chance to see what exactly is, but he's been running it actually even yesterday in practice. He was running with a little what looks just to be a little bit of paper sticking off his helmet. So I don't know what that's all about, but the 58 still flying on the circuit. Now the checker flag is out, and Dylan Tureen actually in third position at the moment on the 21, just crossed the line now. Incredibly impressive. What can Marco Holt do? Only his second flying lap of the session on the 58 machine. He comes round the final corner. Where will this put him on the 58? Marco Holt coming to the line now. The checker flag waves for qualifying 2, and he goes all the way to second position. What an incredible final lap. It shows his talent there, and already you can see just 2 laps, 1,000th of a second slower than Byron Johnson.
0.001. That is the gap between Byron Johnson and Marco Holt at the end of the second qualifying session. After 2 laps from Marco, unreal. I was sat here after his first lap thinking, was that a massive, massive mistake? Has he just absolutely done himself over and knocked his average time back and potentially dropped down the grid order as a result? But he has just proven me wrong with a phenomenal lap, and you have to think surely if he got out just a little bit earlier he could have found that bit of an extra pace though. But what a session! 0.001. That is the gap between Byron Johnson and Marco Holt. Luke Fitchett in third, 2.3, with Dylan Tureen in fourth place. Only 9 of the 23 riders that we're expecting this weekend in the MiniGP 50s came out and ran in this second qualifying session, the final qualifying session of the weekend. But boy oh boy did they serve us up a treat. And again, 23 riders out there for race 1 later on today. It is going to be close, it's going to be tight, it's going to be superb.
It is, and now the riders heading into the pit lane, and that is the end of the qualifying 2 sessions. It doesn't look like actually at the moment that the rain is still hammering it down out there, so potentially eased, and potentially as the racing progresses today, 10 races coming up, can we see the track drying again? I mean, there's 1 or 2 spots in there, still umbrellas up, so not dry just yet, but the circuit, with these bikes circling, especially like the sidecars, the Pit by 140s, and even the main GP 50s, with a lot of them being on the circuit, they can dry the track really, really quick, but it looks like maybe a bit of contamination on the circuit, as we see some of the marshals and Luke Fitchett's dad, also with a flat cap on his head, putting down some sand or some salt or grit, just trying to get rid of whatever's on the circuit, whether that be a bit of fuel, a bit, maybe even just a bit of oil on the circuit, but trying to get rid of it so it's not slippy for the riders and for the races, which will be next up.
Absolutely, we are getting racing in a few short moments' time as the marshals finish up sorting out whatever is going on over at the chicane, especially paramount that they put some sand or grit or cement dust or whatever it may be down there, because that corner is blind to the riders, so you really don't want anything to be on the circuit. So again, big thank you to the marshals again this weekend. Couldn't be racing without them. And if you're just joining us, hello and welcome to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. You join us just after the qualifying sessions have ended, and we are getting ready to go racing for the first races of the weekend. First up being the AC40 Rookies, with 21 riders making their way up to Rowrah this weekend, as that looks like a big stretch of oil. That's coming out of Airedale's hairpin, the second hairpin on that run through the middle part of the track. Hopefully the marshals are aware of that and we can sort that out soon, but that's really not good. Again, coming out of the hairpin, that is right on the racing line, so maybe someone with a problem in that last session and just dumping a little bit of oil everywhere unbeknownst to them, and that is... yeah, that's quite a streak. That's heading quite far down the straight. So that could be a little bit of a clean-up job, a little bit of a delay. So we will have to wait and see. But again, the marshals have been superb so far this weekend. Of course, they've been superb this season. Those in orange are the track marshals. Those in the yellow high-vis, they are the roving marshals, we like to call them. They are the parents who come along every weekend and like to help out. And all of them do a fantastic job. So a big thank you. We could not go racing without them. There we can see one of the local marshals coming out. They've spotted the issue, and they're going to go sort it out.
Yeah, getting sorted out right now is the contamination at the moment, as now we await for these guys to go racing. Coming up next is going to be race 1 for the AC40 Rookies class. It's a massive field, as always, in this class. 21 riders will be lining up on the grid, and it's going to be a great one. Conditions are wet and it's just started to rain in the last couple of minutes, so the excitement is massive here at the Rowrah circuit. My name is Rowrah, and actually joining me as a special guest in the commentary box for this one, and he actually should be out in the AC40 Rookies race, and it's Max Johnson. So Max, first of all, how are you? Because I think you're a little off in qualifying 1.
Yeah, okay. Massive crash, but won't be racing today, but we'll be racing tomorrow and just see how we go there.
Well, that's great news that it'll be out tomorrow, because it's a massive field, and actually the rain's pouring down on the circuit, and it adds a whole new challenge for these guys. Of course, a lot of these guys, they've not had too much experience in the rain. You've been in the rookie class for 1 or 2 years now, so you've had a bit more experience than others in the rain. So if you were out on the circuit, or, well, would you want to be out on the circuit in these conditions? Would these conditions suit you?
Well, some tracks in the rain, in the wet even, is quite slippy. Like this track's really slippy for the wet, so keeping out for all the riders. And yeah, see how we do.
Yeah, well, right now, at the moment, final checks being done to some of these riders. Just checking, and a lot of these guys are using dart visors still, so it's going to be quite tricky to see out in the circuit. And this is also the type of condition where you don't want your visor to get steamed up at all, because all it takes is 1 or 2 raindrops to get in your visor, and then it's almost impossible to see. And right now, these guys waiting to get out in this hole in there. What would you be thinking right now, Max?
Well, because it's a slippy track, I think there'll be some nervous riders in pit lane right now. But yeah, we're just got to be confident, ride smoothly, and yeah, just see how we do on the track.
Yeah, it's those types of conditions where you really just have to take it as it comes, and really every single lap, whenever it rains, or maybe it's not raining one lap, your braking marker where you go in the throttle can completely change, and especially with oil or a bit of fuel in the circuit, and you're going to be the first riders to go out in it. It's yet again another thing on these guys' minds, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And right now, a clean-up operation still underway, and trying to get as much of that oil and fuel off the circuit. So hello and welcome. If you just joined us, you've joined us at almost the perfect moment, because racing is just seconds away, and right now we're watching the AC40 Rookie race ready to get underway, where Jensen Ansel leads the championship by 99 points. And well, Max, it's been a great season for Jensen Ansel. He's shot out the gates, and he's managed to get plenty of race wins throughout the season.
Yeah, he's a good rider with lines and that, and yeah, good riders to follow with, and same for other riders who's battling it out, like Mason Frederick, for example, Kai Hawken, Caelan Ratcliffe, Jensen Sedras also, all them riders who's up there in the top spots to keep an eye out with.
Well, right now, at the moment, we're waiting for the clean-up operation still to be finished, because there's quite a lot of oil and fuel dotted around the whole circuit. So obviously a bike's been leaking. When you're in the wet, it's almost impossible to see if a bike is leaking some oil around the circuit. But actually, it's a lot of the parents going back into the pit lane. So Max, you mentioned the other riders being nervous. Would you be nervous yourself out there, or would you be nice and calm and composed?
Nice, calm and composed. Yeah, just even because it's a slippy track, I won't be an idiot to push it as much, especially because this is a slippy track like Wilton Milk. That's also a slippy track. I'll just I ride it just really smooth, try not crash. Yeah, just steady on and just drive smoothly.
Well, Wilton Mill will be going to next up, and I think a lot of the riders are going to be hoping that it doesn't rain there, because, as you mentioned, it's a slippery track, and we've seen it just 1 year ago when it started raining at Wilton Mill. There's loads of crashes, and that's because the track has not been resurfaced in a long time, so it's quite bumpy. It's very slippy when it rains, and it's exactly what a rider doesn't want. But you're speaking about Jensen Ansel and how fast he's been all season. Is he a rider that you talk to and you're friends with in the paddock?
Yeah, definitely. He's a good friend to everyone in the paddock, and yeah, he's also a good rider, talented, smooth rider on his lines and that. And yeah, great rider he is.
And the AC40 Rookie class, what is that to racing, because we have 21 riders that are going to be lining up for this race. Well, 20 riders lining up for this race. As we see Dale Baldwin, our photographer here at FAB, also putting in, getting his money for the weekend, that's for sure, doing some sweeping and not just taking the pictures outside the track. But 20 riders should be making a start to this race. So what is this field like to race in?
The fuel, you mean, on track?
The AC40 Rookie race. What is that like to race in as a rider?
Well, sometimes you might just have to take a different line from fuel, try and avoid it, and that's why I do on track sometimes when there's oil on track.
Yeah, well, the oil it can make things very, very sloppy. That's why we're taking some time. But so the AC40 Rookie race, it's a very, very fast class. We've seen the riders chop and change throughout the season, and we've seen a massive field this season in the class. Loads of riders racing in it. So as a rider, what is it like? Who are you racing against weekend in, weekend out? Are there riders that maybe you try to follow throughout a weekend, or do you go out there and do your own thing?
Well, a rider called Caelan Ratcliffe, who's in this rookies class, he's really good with his lines. He should be quite good in this track, should Caelan Ratcliffe, because he's such a light rider. This is such a fast track, is Rowrah, on the streets, and he's a light rider, and he's quite a good rider to follow with. And me and him had some great battling this morning in qualifying 1 before I had my massive crash. And sometimes I follow his lines, sometimes he follows my lines, and he's one good rider to follow with.
And you mentioned you're off this morning. Obviously, I don't think you're going to want to speak about it too much because I think you'll be wanting to forget it. But what exactly happened? Because obviously we didn't get to see it up here in the commentary box.
Well, I was getting a tow off Caelan Ratcliffe because he overtook me. And he was starting to pull away from me, and I wanted to try and catch up with him. Could I push to the limit? I pushed a bit far too hard. I just lost front end. No high size walk, which is good, otherwise that could have broken a bone. But it's quite a fast track. No, not a fast track. A fast crash, but just lost front end, sliding on the ground, and kept on barrel rolling through the field, and I hurt my head and kept on banging it on the ground. But all good. Went to hospital to get it checked out, and I said to not race today, but I'll be back racing tomorrow, and I'll get some confidence in that race tomorrow.
Well, that's good then, because you were meant to be starting in 5th position, which is a really good place to be starting in on the 3rd row of the grid. But starting from the 3rd row of the grid tomorrow, obviously I don't think you're going to want to give too much away to all your competitors that are watching this video back later tonight. But how are you going to be attacking the race starting from 5th position? Is it just kind of take it how it comes, or are you just going to go all out and try to battle the likes of Kai Hawken and Jensen Ants on the first couple of laps?
Well, I'll just go all out, try get good lap times in, get better lines, because just get better lines, obviously. You'll get faster, go line to line. There's some lines you might need to take. And just try and battle with the likes of Rowrah, those riders.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race anyway, that's for sure. Sadly, you're not going to be making the start for it, but on pole position will be Jensen Ansel. Actually, it looks like he was getting pushed up into the paddock at the moment, so 1 minute 1.4 was his fastest lap in qualifying, which for the rookie bike, that's really, really quick. And you can see Danny Webb as well sprinting back. So Danny Webb been doing quite a lot for these riders over the past year in the FAB-Racing paddock. It's the clean-up operation is still underway, and in the wet as well. There's just 1 or 2 places that maybe they might have missed the first time around. So really, as we've seen plenty of times, here at FAB-Racing, safety as always, Max, is paramount. It's always at the top of their priorities.
Really.
Well, now you can see they're still sweeping at the moment, and well, Max, I think you'll be somewhat happy to be in here nice and dry rather than wet in the commentary box, but we're just being told that the AC40 Rookie race will not go ahead at the moment, and instead the senior MiniMoto guys will be heading out onto the circuit. I think that's quite a smart decision. It's just so more experienced riders can hit the circuit first and get to see where the tricky spots are going to be, rather than the rookies, because their guys are quite inexperienced and they might not know exactly what to do in this situation. So quite a smart call done. And well, the senior MiniMoto class, I'm sure you watch most of the classes here. Obviously you're racing yourself, so you'll be busy across the weekend, but the senior MiniMoto guys, it's very, very small bikes and massive riders, and it looks like quite a tricky class to race in.
Yeah, definitely, especially with lightweight. We'll probably be really heavy, which means we might struggle in straights, but yeah, I've been watching senior MiniMotos over the past year and season even, and yeah, I've been trying to learn a few of their lines, and yeah, helped me out massively.
Well, you can see there some of the riders watching on at the side of the circuit, getting some talks from their parents, and we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. The umbrella still up, but it's potentially stopped raining at the Rowrah circuit, so some good news there. Maybe it gives the track a chance to dry, and obviously without the rain beating down, it won't spread any more of that oil, and then hopefully they can get that away as soon as possible, and we can get racing once again. But at the moment, we're still waiting for racing to get underway. It's going to be the senior MiniMoto class that's going to be first up now. 11 bikes are going to be making the start on that. And now, we're just going to have to wait to see what happens. It looks like Nicholas Dunwoody at the moment that's holding the umbrella, or was holding the umbrella, as the umbrella is now being taken away. So there's Rob as well. Rob's been doing a great job over his time here at FAB, and he's marching back to race control. But in the senior MiniMoto class, on the front row of the grid, it's going to be Josh Birkin. And actually, Max, with you being such a young rider racing the AC40 Rookies, do you get much advice from the older riders in the paddocks? Not necessarily the adults, but some of the MiniGP 50 and 70 riders?
Well, yeah, sometimes, because we use different lines from rookies, obviously. Some of them are on bigger bikes, some of them are on same size bikes, but we still help out a lot, which is great news.
And well, Matt, we're coming to almost the end of the season now. We're in the latter half of the season, at round 6 of 8. Have you got any plans so far for the 2024 season, or is it all still pretty much up in the air?
Probably do pros next year. During the summer break, 6 weeks holidays, I've been training on my pro bike, and just get used to it, get confidence into it, and go from there, step by step, and we'll see how we do next year in pros.
And for anyone watching at home, what would you say is the biggest difference between the rookie bike that you currently race and the pro bike that you're training on?
Well, on the corners, they're like the same speed, but on the straight, we've got a lot of power, especially coming out of corners. Yeah, definitely.
And so with more power on the motorcycle, do you have to change much with your riding style, or can you ride the bike pretty much similar?
Pretty much similar, because some of them are like the same size, and
Well, you can see senior MiniMoto guys starting to make their way down to the pit lane at the moment, where it's definitely brighter at the moment. So can Josh Birkin take the race win this one, or is it going to be someone like Andy Whedon, who's starting down in 7th position? But at the moment, also this weekend, we have no Matt Birkin and we have no Will Howard. So Matt Birkin, he had an injury earlier on in the season, and Will Howard not being here has huge implications for the championship for these guys. Currently this season, Josh Birkin leads the way by 121 points, Max, which is a impressive margin to say the least. And 121 points, what do you think someone like that would be thinking inside their head with such a large lead in the championship?
a lot of talented riders around the world would be thinking, how on earth is he done some championship lead like that? And it shows that we're pretty talented.
Yeah, it shows that Josh Birkin is pretty talented. Both the Birkin brothers, very talented in the senior MiniMoto class. But you can see riders there having a little chat. Lamar Morgan waiting to get underway in the middle of the picture, and actually one of the rookie riders sticking around and waiting to see what is going to happen. Chris Yeomans as well, he had a massive crash in qualifying, and he looks like he's making the start for this one, which is great to see. But these guys shouldn't be too far away now. The skies as well looking far brighter than before. So is this a circuit, Max, that dries quickly, or is it a circuit which really can stay damp for a long time?
Well, it depends on the track temperature, as in weather, because if it's cloudy, it might not really dry up the track as much, but if it's like really sunny, it probably will dry the track quite easily and quickly.
Well, we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Skies are brighter, and hello and welcome if you just joined us. If you've not missed anything just yet, we're in a slight delayed period at the moment while we're waiting for some contamination on the circuit to be cleared up before we can get underway for the first race of the day, which should have been the AC40 Rookie class and will now be the Senior MiniMoto class. Because see Zach Tureen having a conversation with one of the marshals, Dylan Tureen, watching this conversation from the top of the dummy area. But Zach Tureen having a little conversation as he heads back up into the paddock. Well, sprints back up actually. So getting this exercise there as one of the Green Streets has a little talk from Isaac to Isaac Greenstreet as Rob Gentry runs, with his son Reece Gentry running behind him. Reece Gentry, he had a massive crash himself last round, and he had to get some surgery on his wrist. But he's here at the circuit helping his dad out and watching from the sidelines. So we've seen quite a few injuries this year in the Senior MiniMoto class. But yeah, Max, are you expecting this to be a good race in the wet, or what are these MiniMoto bikes like actually to ride in these wet conditions in themselves? Are the wet tyres good?
Well, I think the Senior MiniMoto guys will be more talented in the wet because the adults, and they know best, and yeah. They just need to ride smoothly, and yeah.
Yeah, adults know best. That's a good attitude to have when you're racing in the rookie class anyway at the moment. Plenty of advice from your parents, and even whenever you're here in the Senior MiniMoto guys, a lot of these guys still getting advice from the family members. So this shows how important family is at FAB-Racing. And FAB-Racing, really, it's just like a massive family. We go with 8 circuits every single year, 8 rounds anyway, every single season. It's actually a full clean-up operation now. We have some jugs of water on the circuit. If there wasn't enough water on the circuit, we're going to add some more to try and get some of this contamination cleared up, and then hopefully we can get underway. So still a sweep up operation going on. These marshals really do a great job. I'm sure even the Roman marshals, I'm sure you're very grateful for them, especially after your incident earlier on. They always do a great job, as you can see some water getting poured onto the wet circuit.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, we might need to just move out the oil nice and quickly, so then all the other categories can go back out and track and race.
Well, obviously here at Rowrah we do have a pretty tight time constraint where we need to be finished by around 5 o'clock tonight. It's currently 3 o'clock and we have 10 races to get through, so it's going to be a very tight end to our day. And actually, look at the amount of people watching on the banking. They're watching this unfold and hoping that we can get underway, because it actually, Max, it looks like this bike has contaminated track almost half the circuit, because we've seen it right at the top hairpin, and now we see it at the final corner. So potentially a lot of the circuit's contaminated. As we see, there's Marco Holt, Luke Fitchett, and Harris as well, all having a nice conversation, sitting and watching this all unfold. Do you speak to the likes of Luke Fitchett, or even the likes of Max Johnson? I see Luke Fitchett, Marco Holt there, as Bradley Curtis. Do you speak to Bradley Curtis much?
Yeah, most of them around Paddock. All the kids are all talented riders, good friends to speak to, and yeah, we always have great advice.
And not Max Johnson, I should say, as he pours out a can at the side of the circuit. And actually there you can see how far around this has gone, how much of this cleaning operation really still has to go, because they'll have to give that at least a little sweep before we can get underway. And as a rider, especially if you're seeing these pictures at the moment, it's a bit daunting and you'd be a bit nervous almost. But you'd have to say these adults, they're going to be raring to go, because as you've said, you've watched some of the senior MiniMoto guys and you've seen how aggressive some of them can be.
Yeah, all the adults just need to sweep out the oil and that, and then the senior MiniMoto guys and the AC40 rookies and all the other categories can go ahead in the race coming up soon.
Well, you can see the riders having a little chill at the moment and actually hiding in each other's umbrellas. Henry McCartney, a fresh bucket hat for him this weekend, has been wearing it. As we see, bikes on the circuit. So we are just potentially minutes away from going ahead for the first race of the day. So hello and welcome. If you're just joining us, you join us at the perfect time, because racing is just about to get underway for race 1 of the senior MiniMoto class. We're going to have Josh Birkin on pole position from the likes of Nick Bennett on the 711 machine. Nick Bennett having a little chat to Chris Yeomans, who will be starting in 4th position, but in 3rd will be Mark Payne as well. So Lee Klaus having a little chat with the riders to see what's going to happen, if they're going to get another warm-up lap, because we have had some track contamination. There has been some fluid on the circuit, so some of the track potentially pretty slippy. But at the back of the field, Rob Gentry, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. Just 11 bikes, but the senior MiniMoto guys is always great racing. Lee Klaus putting 2 fingers up in the air, potentially 2 warm-up laps that will begin, or potentially posing just for the camera as well. Wait and find out what's going to happen for the start of this race. But the riders, they'll be focused. They're having a little conversation though, because they're pretty experienced, as you mentioned, Max. So this won't be the first time that most of them have raced in these types of conditions.
Well, yeah, some of them are new coming up to the season, and some of them probably wouldn't have had much track time in the wet. Well, it was wet yesterday in practice, but yeah.
Yeah, not all of these guys doing practice at the moment, but as you can see, the field coming through on their warm-up lap for what's going to be the start of the senior MiniMoto race, and where we're going to have Josh Birkin on pole position after setting a 56.9195 in qualifying. Nick Bennett will be alongside him in the first row of the grid. Mark Payne and Chris Yeomans will be starting the race from 3rd and 4th place, with David Maya and Keaton Payne rounding out the top 6 in the front 3 rows of our grid. The returning Andy Whedon, he will be starting from 7th position in front of Callum White and Lamar Morgan in 9th position. Isaac Greenstreet, he's had quite a busy couple of rounds here at FAB, even rode the sidecar, and now he's here back once again in his usual place in the senior MiniMoto class. He'll be starting from 10th position. Rob Gentry will be starting from 11th, and actually will be rounding out our grid. But the riders coming across the line, and that's because they're going to have 2 warm-up laps. So Max, what kind of difference does it make as a rider to be able to get an extra warm-up lap? Is it just a case of learning what the circuit's like, or does it help your mind get focused?
Well, a bit of both, to be honest, and also, someone's off there, and who's that who's just crashed?
Yeah, crash there from what's to be Mark Payne, our hairpin, and a very, very disappointing start to his race, but straight back into the game. It doesn't look like much damages, so a crash there at McRae's, as there's a little bit of debris as well at the hairpin, as all the riders trying to avoid what's been cleaned up on the circuit. As we can see, actually, it's exhaust maybe that's fell. Fairing actually has fell off that bike there, so front fairing falling off and trying to get a clip back on. Are these easy to do at the side of the circuit? As now we'll wait to see if they can make the start of this race. They've done it pretty well, actually, as that is the 112 machine trying to make the start of this race and trying to make the start for what's going to be a very, very exciting race. That was Keaton Payne putting on his fairing there. So what is potentially an issue like that? Is that going to get you out of focus, or is it just a case of just forgetting it ever happened?
Well, it's not an issue with it, but with his bike, it's just a fairing comes off, so nothing major at least. And yeah, you can just settle on the grid, focus on the race, and start racing again.
Well, a little chat on the grid between the front row. Josh Birkin and Nick Bennett as there. He's lost his fairing again. Yeah, the side of the fairing's broken there, so it doesn't look like he's going to fit that back on. I don't know if he's realised. Yes, he has. He's raising it now. I don't know if he's going to just chuck that away and just try and make the start of the race, or if he's going to come into the pit lane. We'll soon find out, because the pit lane's just up here to his left. But there's Chris Yeomans getting ready. It's going to be an exciting one, Max.
Yeah, definitely. Other riders would be a bit nervous right now in the wet conditions, and it looks like one of the riders are getting frustrated there. So yeah, I wonder what's up with him.
Yeah, Mark Payne potentially just telling Keaton Payne to have a little hurry up and come onto the grid. And yes, it was actually as Keaton Payne appears into the shot. So now these riders, Lamar Morgan sitting on the grass actually, so maybe not going to make the start for the race. What a chaotic 5 minutes. It's going to be an even more chaotic 9 laps to this race. It's going to be an exciting one with Josh Birkin on pole position. The points to the light has been made. The lights go out and we go racing here at Rowrah. Josh Birkin trying to lead the way into turn 1 with Nick Bennett in second place on the 711 machine. Chris Yeomans jumping into third place ahead to Mark Payne, who drops down to 4th, but Josh Birkin leading the way on the number 2 machine, the 711 of Nick Bennett just behind him. Josh Birkin already trying to stretch out a lead, and Max, what a great start that was there from Josh Birkin. It's given him a comfortable gap where he can just take his own lead straight away, as there's Chris Yeomans having a crash on the circuit, and already, before we even get to what looked to be the contaminated part, already a crash. Nick Bennett there losing the front folding straight away on the braking. Nothing he could have done there. At first phase of the braking, it's almost impossible to save those types of crashes. There was no warning from his bike, as now we can see the likes of Mark Payne up at the front and battling for what is going to be an exciting 8 laps.
Yeah, definitely. The weather looks treacherous out there, as you can see Lamar Morgan entering the pit, and yeah, it looks like it's just, so of course it's a slippy track, so the riders have just got to ride smoothly and just see how they do.
Yep, 7 laps remaining, and Lamar Morgan into the pit lane. We've seen, I don't even think he made the start of the race, because we've seen him sitting on the grass with his bike, so he must have just pushed the bike up the wrong way of the pits once the lights went out and the track was clear. But there in second position, David Maya on the 22 machine, behind the 2 machine of Josh Birkin. So Josh Birkin, 4.4 seconds lead after 1 lap. He's pushing on at the moment. He's trying to get a comfortable gap, because he knows these are the types of races that could potentially be red flagged if any crashes happen or if any more incidents happen. So you really have to get a gap straight away. 7 laps remaining in this race. Callum White up to 4th, and Rob Gentry from 10th position all the way up to 5th place. So Rob Gentry, extremely impressive there, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, it looks like he's confident in the wet. He knows his riding style in the wet, and yeah, it looks like he's confident during the race, and yeah, see how he does.
Yeah, he's certainly confident at the moment. Confident in these tricky conditions here at Rowrah. It's going to be an interesting one. Just 6 laps remaining, because 5.7 seconds is the gap between Josh Birkin and David Maya in second. This is David Maya who is battling, and Callum White actually a couple places behind in 4th position. He's going to be hoping for a great result this time out on the 322 machine. He had an impressive qualifying actually in the dry, qualifying in 8th. So he's made up a couple of positions, and actually you can see the complete different lines there. Some riders choosing to almost take it tight and to go up the inside. He's going up the inside at the moment, and making up a place is Mark Payne. So Mark Payne up as Chris Yeomans on the 85, trying to restart his bike as yet another fall. So Chris Yeomans looks to be one of the riders that are struggling in the wet, Max.
So yeah, he's probably crashing, because I think he might have needed a little bit more track time now. As you can see, Isaac Greenstreet having some problems, or maybe a little crash there, and Nick Bennett's also down, so not what he would have hoped for, but as you can see, he's gone back on track, and yeah, ready to start pushing again in the race.
Yeah, potentially some damage actually for Nick Bennett from his crash earlier on in the race. And now we see the battle for second position still continuing. David Maya in second position, Mark Payne in third at the moment. It's Chris Yeomans actually makes up a position that lap from Rob Gentry. So Rob Gentry yet to cross the line in 6th place. So maybe Rob Gentry have another issue. There's Callum White having a crash there. So these are really tricky conditions, and you can see how tricky it is out there. One grab of the brake and you can just be down. So the front end really seems to be a sensitive place right now. You just have to be nice, smooth, consistent, and not do any big grabs of the front brake.
Yeah, so yeah, you don't need. So you're thinking of not braking that hard on the brakes then in the wet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to brake that hard in the wet. Well, the first initial grab anyway. You don't want to have a handful of brakes and crashing, because that's what we've seen with Nick Bennett right at the start of the race. And we've seen actually Nick Bennett slowed just one lap ago, so maybe some damage there from him on the 711 machine. But there we can see the battle still continuing on, and really a battle in these wet conditions. You just have to use your head and try to not make a mistake, because you've seen how easy it is to crash. So whenever you're making the move, you have to make sure it's clean, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. As you can see, a good battle for David Meyer and Mark Payne for P2, and yeah, having some good battles, and yeah, looks like we're having fun, and that's what racing is about, just to have fun and enjoy it.
Enjoying it at the front will be Josh Birkin as well. A 6.3 second lead, so 4 laps remaining. He's about to come over the line to make it 3 laps remaining. And at this moment, what are you thinking as a rider? I mean, you just said the fastest lap of the race. He's clearly still pushing on, and a 5.9 second gap. Do you have to continue to push for 3 laps remaining, or do you just try and bring it home, especially when you're leading the championship?
Well, obviously he's got about a 6-second gap, has he? Yes, he has. And yeah, because there's 3 laps left, as you can see him lapping Rob Gentry, he'll be wanting just to bring it safe, not bother about lap times, just bring it home, bring it safe with 3 laps to go, and just try and best. And it looks like actually David Meyer has set the fastest lap of the race with 101.9, and Josh Perkins' fastest lap times are 1 minute 2.4. So looks like David Meyer has got the pace to bring it home in second.
Yep, David Mayotte slowly closing that gap for first position, and now we'll wait to see what's it going to be this time around. And hello if you're listening to Matt Burke, and I'm sure you are, and we hope to see you back potentially next season, and hopefully we can see you racing with your brother at the front of this field. But actually, this time around, Josh Birkin, 10.9 second lead. So David Mayotte, I think he's had an issue, a 1 minute 7.579. Far slower actually, and actually 6 seconds slower than what he did the lap previous. So Josh Birkin, he's doing it consistent at the front, while it looks like David Mayotte might have made a slight issue. So 2 laps remaining. Now Birkin, he has to bring it home.
Yeah, he just needs to bring it safe, bring it home, and yeah, just wide out there, just ride smoothly, just stay confident on the bike, and yeah, just see how he does as we are heading towards the last lap of the race. And I'm sure Josh Birkins would be wanting to bring it home, and I'm sure his brother Matt Birkin would want him to win also at home. And it looks like, who's that?
Chris Yeomans.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a problem or might have crashed, so yeah, it's not good for him. But Josh Birkin's currently lapping him right now, so yeah, looks like it does look like it is starting to dry only a tiny bit. So yeah, see how we do.
Let's see what's going to happen. But Keaton Payne, he looks to be in about 4th position at the moment, but he looks like he had a transponder issue, or his transponder might have potentially fallen off around this race. But we're on the final lap at the moment as Josh Birkin heads into the final sector of the circuit, and it's going to be brilliant from Birkin once again, because in these conditions he's mastered it in the wet. The whole 10 laps of this race he's looked incredibly dominant as Josh Birkin comes to cross the line to take the first race win of the weekend in the senior MiniMoto class. Josh Birkin wins by an impressive gap as Chris Yeomans crosses the line for 5th position. We'll wait for David Mayotte in 2nd place, because Josh Birkin had over a 10-second lead last time around. Now the winning margin 13.6 seconds. Now Max, I think you can agree with me, that is an impressive result there from Josh Birkin. Not one mistake.
Yeah, as you can see him just cheering on right now, will be quite happy with that result, and yeah, that's what he hoped, what he wanted to win.
Yeah, he's going to be wanting for more of them this year. He punches the air with joy. And Josh Birkin on the number 2 is your race winner. As he does a little wave to the camera, and yeah, that's exactly what Birkin's all about. He loves a bit of showboating. But 3rd position, Mark Payne, and actually it looks to be about 3 riders on that lead lap, so that just shows the pace of Josh Birkin in that one.
Yeah, so if it rains in race 2 or race 3 tomorrow, he's the man to look out for.
And now that you can see a happy man, Josh Birkin, your race winner, 13.628 seconds at the line from David Maya in 2nd position. Mark Payne is in 3rd place, and Callum White unofficially in 4th position after even a crash earlier on. Chris Yeomans, quite exciting race there from him. He had quite a few ups and down moments, but 5th position there from him. And Rob Gentry in 6th, with Nick Bennett in 7th after an early on crashes. Isaac Greenstreet finishes in 8th. Keaton Payne and Andy Whedon in 9th and 10th after crashing out and actually having to retire. But these, of course, are provisional results and not official, because we're waiting to see if potentially some transponder issues for some riders. But Max, it's been a pleasure of you joining us here in the commentary box.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
actually to be able to talk to you, and hopefully actually we can see you out on track tomorrow, because I'm sure you'll be very, very excited not only to watch the likes of senior Minimotos tomorrow and the rest of the racing, but to be out on track yourself in the AC40 Rookies. And actually, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what is your predictions tomorrow for your own race?
Well, I just want to bring it home, bring it safe, and yeah, just be confident about the race tomorrow, get a good night's sleep, and yeah, just see how we do tomorrow.
Well, take it as it comes, I think, is your mindset at the moment, and we hope you have that good night's sleep, and we hope you have a good race tomorrow. We'll be starting from 5th position. Thank you so much, Max Johnson, and we hope to see you on the circuit soon, and we hope to see you once again with a smile on your face.
Yeah, thank you.
So that was Max Johnson, AC40 Rookie rider, and it's very, very impressive to see these young riders here at FAB. The confidence that they have on and off the circuit. They did a great job there bringing us through the action in the senior Minimoto class, but we're just waiting for the riders to come out of the holding area before we can get started for the next race of the day. So the senior Minimoto guys, a great race there from them, but what they shown us was a very, very tricky Rowrah circuit that they're racing on. So next up that we're going to have the LC40 Elite. So we're waiting for these guys to come out onto the circuit to get started for what's going to be an awesome race. Coming up is the first race of the weekend for the LC40 Elites, and you can see now coming onto the grid, is a very, very impressive field. 11 riders that we have, and our main one there, Byron Johnson, the number 37. He can wrap up the championship this weekend if he can leave with impressive results. 2nd place there will be Harrison Day, but Byron Johnson on pole position. 3rd position, Lewis Hull and Bradley Curtis in 4th place. Matthew Thomas and Sebastian Gasielski, a part of the Danny GP camp. He will be starting in 6th place. On the 4th row of our grid, Rex Austin on your left, and on your right we have Josh Perkins on the 30 machine. Rock and roll, says Josh Perkins. Nicholas Dunwoody having a little look over at Taylor Tomlinson, who's starting very far down the order. 10th position for him in the back of the field. Oliver Hall, he's looking ready to race. He does a little wave to the camera as we await to see what's going to happen in the first race of the weekend for the AC40 and the LC40 Elite class. You can see now heading out on their warm-up lap in testing conditions. This is going to show who has the pace in the wet, who can pick up confidence in tricky track conditions first. But Byron Johnson, he's shown his confidence all year, and that is how he's had such an impressive season in the LC40 Elite class. 12 race wins up to this point, 15 podiums in general, and 172 points to his 172 point race lead to his name. over Taylor Tomlinson. With Tomlinson starting in 10th position, it's going to be an interesting one. So Ross, it's going to be an interesting championship, almost a championship race really, because Byron Johnson, 172 point gap from Taylor Tomlinson, who's starting this race from 10th.
Absolutely, although this isn't the one where he can wrap up the championship. He can only mathematically win it in race 2. This is certainly the race that Byron Johnson can put one hand on the trophy. He has been absolutely superb this year, mirroring his brother's results from last year. Of course, Austin Johnson, the older of the two, winning the championship last year. Byron Johnson, vice champion last year as well. So, of course, he's going to want to go one better. But he's been so phenomenal this season. Of course, sweeping last time around at Clandau. He's had many race wins this season, and he sits very pretty on the pole position, 1.2 seconds faster than Harrison Day in P2. But he's got to stay on it. It's still quite greasy out there. It's still a bit slippy, so he's going to have to wait and see. He's going to have to use all of his tip and his talent to stay on the bike and bring it home and put one hand on the trophy.
Yeah, he's going to have to put one hand on the trophy in this race. He's going to want that anyway, because he starts on pole position. The lights go out and we go racing for race 1 of the LC40 Elite class. And Byron Johnson is your race leader into turn 1. He's taking it very gingerly, but he still has the race lead. Second position, Harrison Day, a new helmet for him this weekend. And hopefully not a new form, because we've seen him take multiple race wins throughout the season. He's going to want to replicate that now. Bradley Curtis in third place. And there we see Rex Austin, that looks like being the first crasher of our race, straight up on his feet and straight away having a battle. And Byron Johnson crashing out of the races, trying to get that race started as soon as he can. The race leader, the championship leader, down on the deck.
Well, he certainly made it more difficult for himself. I'm not really sure what happened. Probably just tucked the front end, Byron Johnson. But that means that it's currently Bradley Curtis in the lead of the race ahead of Sebastian Goslavsky in P2. Lewis Hull currently holding on to P3. Byron Johnson falling down to P9 there as we've got another rider having problems there. I believe that is Harrison Day. Oh no, it's Oliver Hall, sorry, that's gone down there. But it will be Bradley Curtis that leads lap 1 here in race 1 of the LC40 Elite. 7 laps still left to go as they head up through the chicane and onto the run down to McRae's. Still very tricky through there, still very slippy. The riders have got to be on absolute maximum focus, not quite a maximum attack. You don't want to just push it a little bit too far and lose the front end of the bike in the rain, as Matthew Thomas has been awarded a jump start penalty on the number 49 bike. He will get added 3 seconds added at the end of the race. Matthew Thomas currently running in P3. That is a jump start penalty for 3 seconds to be added to his time at the end of the race.
Yeah, 3-second penalty. He will not be wanting that, to say the least, but he might already know. He might know to push in these early laps. Taylor Tomlinson, the 77, started from 10th, now in 5th place. There is Oliver Hall, just 2 positions behind in 7th place, and trying to chase Sebastian Goslavsky actually as he get past him straight away. So Oliver Hall really taking to these conditions and really trying to push to the limits early on, as Bradley Curtis still leads the way on the 71 machine. A 1:04.5, the fastest lap of the race, also awarded to him, as Taylor Thompson still racing through, as Oliver Hall actually having an issue. So Oliver Hall, is this a DNF to his race? Does he have a bike issue? Yes, he is. He's pulling off to the side of the circuit and straight away trying to get some help from one of our Roman marshals here. But to Oliver Hall, that looks like he knows that is the end.
Very disappointing opening to the weekend for Oliver Hall. He was running super well in practice and qualifying, but unfortunately it was not meant to be in race 1. You can see he doesn't look particularly happy. There comes his dad to try and help him out and get the bike restarted. Another one of our roving marshals. Hopefully he can get back out there and keep going round. Even though there may not be points on the end of it, it'll still be, as we see the leader there on screen, the number 71 of Bradley Curtis. But hopefully Oliver Hall can still get the bike going again. Although it may not be points, it can still be crucial track time for later on in the weekend. Of course, you start each race where you qualified. Your qualifying result determines the starting grid for every single race. It is not about where you finish, it's about how you qualify. So it's not the end of the world for Oliver Hall if he can't quite make it back out there. Byron Johnson, meanwhile, up into P6 already. You know, he's fast on here. He did win a race last year, finishing first in race 2 in this category. And he's trying to fight his way back after that early tumble. Very unlike him. It's not a rider that typically makes mistakes, so very interesting to see that. As there we see our leader, Bradley Curtis, currently in front by 8.2 seconds from Harrison Day. Of course, Matthew Thomas in P3, dropping down. He's about 2 seconds behind Harrison Day at the moment. Oh, there we got a rider down. Is that... Can't quite tell who that is that's gone down there. That looks like it could be Matthew Thomas. So it is Matthew Thomas who's gone down there from P3. Hopefully he'll still be in that position when he gets going again. Of course, he does have that 3-second jump start penalty as well. So Matthew Thomas, although he wasn't the podium place, is another rider whose weekend has started in a disappointing manner.
Harrison Day, though, this race has not started in a disappointing manner for him, as he's in second place at the moment. Although he's about 8 seconds behind Bradley Curtis, he's still going to be hoping to keep on to that podium position, as Bradley Curtis, although he's not a Scottish rider, he has raced in the Scottish Championship, so he's plenty of experience in the wet conditions, to say the least. So certainly using that to the best of his abilities at the moment. As yet another fastest lap, a 103.562, 3 seconds quicker than Harrison Day behind, and already an 11-second lead. So potentially that Scottish knowledge from Bradley Curtis coming into experience and showing how quick he can be. Is actually Bradley Curtis already coming to lap some riders, so it's showing how quick he's been. Potentially Rex Austin just in front of him is Bradley Curtis, so as he's trying to get through. No blue flags here at FAB, so he just has to use his head almost, because it's the first time he's probably been in this scenario with such a big lead, so he just has to learn as he goes, with everything being new in this situation.
Bradley Curtis last lap as he comes to the line now. Does he go any faster? No. His best lap was a 103.2. Just to put that into context, to show you how bad the track conditions are, even though the rain has stopped. The lap record set by Bailey Stewart Campbell in 2018 was a 52.190, so about 10 seconds a lap slower, even with the rain stopping. Just shows how treacherous the circuit is when it starts to come down. It just slows right down. You've got to be a lot more patient. As there we see our leader heading through Airedale's hairpin and down the back straight from the high point of the circuit onto that big drop off before we get down to the Stewart S's, the very tricky section down the back of the circuit. You can see just crawling their way around, avoiding the little bit of concrete dust that's been put down, and almost coming together with a back marker. I think that's Oliver Hall who's pulling off there. I think there's just a bit of miscommunication between the two riders. I don't think Oliver Hall was aware that Bradley Curtis was coming through. I think Bradley Curtis didn't realise that Oliver Hall was going to pull off the circuit, so luckily no contact as we come round the final corner now with our leader to make it 2 laps left to run. He has been absolutely superb this race, as Bradley Curtis.
He certainly has, because he almost made contact, as we've seen there, with Oliver Hall. Looks like Oliver Hall managed to get his bike running again, but straight away basically stopped again on him, and nothing he could have done. But luckily both riders safe, both riders avoiding a collision there. But Bradley Curtis, what an impressive ride it's been from the young man. The 71 machine at the moment comes through the hairpin and powers it out as gets past the number 30 of Josh Perkins very, very fast and very swiftly. You can see there just 2 laps remaining in this race. Nothing anyone can do. The only person actually it looks like can beat him at this time out is himself. So 18.8 seconds was the gap last time around, as we see Overhaul's bike by itself. He's out the race, it seems, at the moment. He qualified in 11th. It doesn't look like he's going to see the end of it. But now, coming towards the final corner to make it the final lap of the race, it's Bradley Curtis and Will Ross. It looks like the only person that's going to be able to beat him is himself, because, wow, what a great performance it's been.
Last lap board out for Bradley Curtis, sitting in no man's land at the moment. He has been absolutely superb this race, lapping 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else. He's just clearly so confident in the wet. Of course, it's important to remember that we're still in the Minimotos, although this is the top Minimoto class, the LC40 Elites for the junior riders here at FAB-Racing. We're still on Minimotos. These guys are still quite young, and at this point sometimes you get riders who just have more experience in certain conditions, and clearly Bradley Curtis has lots of experience in the weather. As you said, he's been up racing in Scotland before. I'm sure you're familiar with the Scottish weather, Lewis, so it's not the nicest at the best of times, and he is using that experience to his absolute advantage, and he has dominated here in race 1 of the LC40 Elites. Heading around Sunny Bend now, the penultimate corner To the roars of the crowd, Bradley Curtis has one turn to go to start his weekend with a bang. He heads through Paddock Bend, and the checkered flag will fly for Bradley Curtis. He takes the victory in race 1 with a stellar ride. Absolutely brilliant from the young man.
Brilliant ride there from Bradley Curtis, and wow, what a result. He can't believe it himself, and he'll be loving that one. He'll have a great smile on his face, a massive grin. He still cannot believe it. Of course, a family full of racing, with of course Lucy Curtis racing as well this weekend here at FAB. So it's a real family affair, and now they're going to be celebrating all night long, and I'm sure he's going to be hoping to repeat some of that success tomorrow. Can he have the pace in the dry? We're going to have to wait and find out, because Bradley Curtis won the race by 22.1 seconds over Harrison Day in second place. Taylor Thomason rounding out the podium, as he, more importantly, with championship-wise, finishes in front of Byron Johnson, who looks to be all the way down in 6th place.
Yeah, not a great result there for Byron Johnson. Clearly just struggling, maybe with confidence as well, after that tumble on the opening lap. He'll only take 10 points from that round. Well, Taylor Tomlinson will close the gap down by 6. So Taylor Tomlinson with 16 points for his P3 there. So that brings the gap down to 166 points heading into race 2. Of course, Byron Johnson can still easily win the championship in race 2 if he so feels like it, if he gets a strong result. And Taylor Tomlinson doesn't, but it will be Bradley Curtis with a phenomenal ride, 22 seconds up the road at the end. He takes victory with Harrison Day in second. Taylor Tomlinson rounds out the podium with Matthew Thomas in P4. Sebastian Kozlowski was P5 with hopeful champion Byron Johnson. A disappointing race for him in P6. Nicholas Dunwoody was 7th with Rex Otston in 8th. Josh Perkins was 9th. And unfortunately, we did lose Lewis Hull and Oliver Hall during this race. So it's a shame for them, but of course, 2 more races to come tomorrow for those guys. They can get back on their bikes and give it another go.
Yeah, they'll have another go at it, and hopefully this guy right here, Oliver Hall, he's going to be desperate for another go of it, as he is having to retire from this race and having to trundle back to the pit lane for what is going to be a very long night, it seems, for the Hall family. They're going to have to find out what the issue is with that bike. It stopped once, they managed to get started again, and now it stopped again. A little cuddle with his dad. There was nothing Oliver could have done there, and you can just see the love that goes on, and really how hard they try for their kids to go racing here at FAB.
I mean, when you're a young rider out there, it's all about family. The families throw so much at their children, and all their love and support to help support their fledgling motorcycle careers, and it really is a family adventure. And although it's disappointing for the riders, it's disappointing for the families as well, and hopefully for Oliver Hall it can all be sorted. Well, we are getting ready for race 1 in the AC40 Rookies class. We've got 21 riders making their way out on the grid, or should I say 20. Of course, unfortunately, Max Johnson missing out race 1 on medical grounds, but he will be back on the bike tomorrow, and we can't wait for that. So we've got 20 riders out there, an empty grid slot in P5, and hopefully a great race to look forward to.
Yeah, let's hope so, because 20 riders on a wet track, and some of these guys still very little wet experience. So yeah, it could be very dramatic. It could be championship changing this race. We're going to have to wait and see, but hopefully, most importantly, all these guys go out and enjoy it. But these warm-up laps, it's going to be so important to get out there and learn the circuit and just build into this race, because 20 riders, a lot can happen in this race, and these guys, we've seen it even in dry, a lot can happen in the race. It's Jensen Ansell leading the championship at the moment in the AC40 Rookie class. 8 race wins so far, and he is going to be hoping to make this 9.
We'll have to wait and see what Jensen Ansell can do as he starts from the pole position, but there are, of course, many other great riders out there in this rookies table for championships. We're going to have to wait and see. It's Jensen Ansell who starts from the pole with Kai Hawken alongside. Caelan Ratcliffe in P3 with Mason Fedrick in P4. Max Johnson starts in 5th. Jensen Cedrus alongside him in 6th. Of course, Max Johnson won't be starting this race. He'll be back out there tomorrow, and we'll can't wait to see him back out there for race 2 and race 3. Moving further down the grid order, it will be Henry Brody in P7, Daisy Polden in P8, Nelly Huth in P9, Arthur Rich in 10th, Danny Longhurst in 11th, Tommy Williams in 12th, with Finley Stars 13th, Samuel Whitaker 14th, Freddie Taylor 15th, Logan Orr 16th, James Rich and Austin Dilk make up the 9th row on the grid, Ethan Bayliss and Emerson Oakley are 19th and 20th, and rounding out the grid on his first weekend here at FAB, it is James Dermott in P21. And hopefully we can all get going. Ryan and they're having a few issues. Hopefully everything is okay, back on their way. So we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to get going. But it will be Jensen Ansell, championship leader, starting from the pole position, Lewis. He's got a 99-point gap in the championship. Again, he can wrap that up this weekend if he is able to, but 151 points, that's the margin that you need at the end of this weekend. But his closest challenger, Mason Frederick, just behind him in P4. Again, Kai Hawken very, very close, only a 10th off of the pole sitter in qualifying. It is super, super close up the top, but again, factor in the wet, it could be anybody's race.
Could be anyone's race. We're just seconds away from finding out who he's supporting at home. Let us know down below, because it's going to be an exciting one. Jensen Ansell, the championship leader, on pole position in extremely wet conditions in the AC40 Rookie class. Final checks being done on the grid. Final riders coming in to slot into their grid positions and then have a quick chat with their parent, as actually Jensen Cedras looked to be the rider who had the issues on the warm-up lap, but definitely a few riders missing on this one, but definitely still going to be action-packed. It's going to be dramatic. The lights are on and the lights are off, and we go racing for race one as Jensen Ansell gets a perfect start in the race lead and shoots off in first position. Kai Hawken, the number 20, stays in second place, but straight away Mason Frederick is on his tail with Caelan Ratcliffe as well. Alongside, it's almost free wide for second position into the McRae's hairpin, and wow, that was very, very close. Kai Hawken almost making contact with Caelan Ratcliffe, but it looks like the real winner of that was Mason Frederick, as Kai Hawken now looking down the outside of these guys. Oh, as he slips off at the hairpin. That's what we've seen time and time again over the last half an hour, as the hairpins seem to be the place where riders are getting caught out.
It is, and it's strange as well, because that's not one of the wettest parts of the circuit up at Erdos. That's the highest point on the track. So all the water will be running away from there, but it's just been catching riders out over and over again. As here we see Jensen Ansell on Kai Hawken fighting. Oh no, high side for the championship leader and collecting Kai Hawken as well in P2. Both riders up on their feet, which is great to see. It's Mason Frederick, that has gone down with the championship leader, Jensen Ansell. Frederick gets away quicker. Then Jensen Ansell from pole position. So who's going to be leading as we cross the line? It's Henry Brody, who started all the way back in P7, who is leading the race at the end of lap one. We've got another rider down there as well. Apologies, that is actually Jensen Ansell getting back going again down near the back of the grid. So it's Henry Brody from Kai Hawken from Daisy Polden in P3. Some riders who started well in the middle of the pack, getting great starts out there, but what a shame for Jensen Ansell and Mason Frederick. Ansell with a high side and Frederick with nowhere else to go. Great to see both riders back on their feet and back on the bikes very quickly. Just shows how rough these young guys are, as we see nearly 4 riders getting into each other on the way up into Erdell's hairpin, all fighting, all scrapping for position, getting very, very close on the brakes. This is what AC40 Rookies Racing is all about, as another rider down there, the number 55, having a bit of a tumble. And that is Arthur Rich, the 95, going over. And again, Erdell's hairpin has just been catching people out left, right and centre.
What a dramatic last lap, as now Mason Frederick cutting his way through the pack. Tommy Williams as well, also trying to battle on, but Caelan Ratcliffe there also being another one of the riders that have to cut through this pack, and being with riders that they don't normally battle with, and riders that have slightly different abilities compared to them. But Henry Brody at the front, he's getting caught very, very quickly by Daisy Polden, because he's dropped into second position. Daisy Polden in third is catching swiftly, and now 6 laps remaining. Yellow flags out at the McRae's hairpin. As is a rider off at the side of the circuit. It looks like he is in no rush at getting that bike restarted. But in the race lead now, Kai Hawken, 1.6 seconds at the line, as Henry Brody makes up some ground on the brakes on the 23 machine.
We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen over the remaining 6 laps It was 1.6 seconds at the line. Henry Brody is now trying to challenge into the Stuart S's. Kai Hawken on the 20 in the lead, but it's not going to happen. It's we got another rider down there, and looks like the pulley system to get the engine started also failing. So problem there. That's Tommy, not Tommy Williams. Sorry, that is no, it is Tommy Williams. No, it's not. It's Samuel Whitaker, should I say. It's having problems there with the bike, so it looks like we may have lost another one, as it looks like Henry Brody in the number 23 has got through Kai Hawken. Henry Brody made a mistake on the previous lap and dropped back around 2 seconds. He's now retaken the lead. Daisy Polden 1.1 back, and it's Kai Hawken actually who has maintained that lead onto this lap on the number 20. But it's not far in front. It's 3/10 of a second between the 20 of Kai Hawken and Henry Brody in the 23, who has a look up into McRae's hairpin but decides against it. Now a long climb up into Erdell's, and a lot of power on these rookie bikes. Of course, it's the first bikes that these young riders have ever raced. Mason Fedrick in P4 at the moment after that crash earlier on with the championship leader Jensen Ansel. He has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:08.380 last time round. That is about 3 seconds faster than anybody else. Mason Fedrick right now is flying.
Mason Fedrick, fastest lap of the race, 4th place, now 3rd as he gets past Daisy Polden with just 5 laps remaining. Your race leader on the number 20 machine, Kai Hawken, is under immense pressure from Henry Brody and Mason Fedrick. Mason Fedrick has to be one of the riders actually still trying to get that bike restarted, so you have to give it to these Roman Marshals. They're definitely trying their best to get these riders out there, because track time is key in the AC40 Rookies class. But tricky conditions, as Mason Fedrick is going to make a move on Kai Hawken for 2nd position. So number 5 versus the number 20 round the outside there. Perfect move, almost textbook move, but Henry Brody just in front is your race leader now on the 23 machine, taking the race lead. And now you have the Mason Fedrick chasing behind, almost nothing, 2/10 at the line. And now this AC40 Rookie race is starting to liven up just when you think it couldn't get any more dramatic.
What a race Mason Fedrick has had. Obviously getting involved with that collision with Jensen Ansel, as he has another look to the inside into the Stuart S's, but is too far back to attempt the lunge. And he's now fighting for the lead just a few laps later, and with his championship rival Jensen Ansel all the way down in P9, this is a huge opportunity for the young number 5, putting pressure on the number 23, Henry Brody. We see the two of them heading through the penultimate corner over at Sunny Bend, and now into Paddock Bend, and Mason Fedrick. He's looking left, he's looking right. Does he dive? Tries on the brakes, but Henry Brody shuts the door. We'll have 3 laps left to go at the line this time. Does Fedrick try the same move again? No, he does not. He decides to bide his time and be patient. He knows this is the move for the lead. He doesn't want to make a mistake. He doesn't want to move and lose himself time in the process, as he has another look to the inside now into Erdell's hairpin, getting closer and closer with every passing moment, trying now to get the run up the hill and into Erdell's. Brody shuts the door. Fedrick to the inside on the brakes. Can he try it once again? It's no. He gets closer on the inside. Brody runs over the concrete dust. Now that may affect him heading into the next corner. That could stick to his tyres and lose him a little bit of grip and a little bit of time as they go through some lap traffic. It's still Henry Brody leading, but Mason Fedrick is putting all of the pressure and then some on.
Still leading at the moment, but as you mentioned, putting on the pressure. Will Brody crack, or will he be able to hold off Fedrick? 3 laps, room, 1 more corner to go actually of this lap as we race down such a quick final corner. It lasts almost forever, it feels, for these riders. But number 5 versus the number 23 machine, they come across the line now side by side, and Mason Fedrick looking down, he backs out, although he thinks better of it. But Mason Fedrick setting the fastest lap of the race once again, a 1:07.996, as there is his teammate of Freddie Taylor on the 118 machine, having issues, having mechanical issues, and now having to retire from the race. Hopefully he can get that bike restarted. Hopefully he can finish this race, because Freddie Taylor could be wanting to finish on the board, because this race has already been dramatic enough, because Henry Brody is now being overtaken by Mason Fedrick, as Mason Fedrick is our new race leader on the number 5.
But don't count Henry Brody out of this. Although Mason Fedrick's last lap was a 107.996. Henry Brody found 2 seconds out of his back pocket instead of 108.053. Second fastest rider on the circuit last time out. And even though he's only got 1 lap to go, he could follow his opponent. He can find where he's faster. Although the pressure was on him, he absorbed it. Although Fedric is now through, Henry Brody can still try and fight back to take the win in race 1. Last lap board is out. One final tour of the Cumbria Kart Racing Club to go for your race leader, Mason Fedric, currently second in the championship and taking full advantage of Jensen Ansel's struggles down in P6. They came together, both of them were off the bike on lap 2. Mason Fedric gets back on and he is looking like he is going to win race 1 of this weekend. But what can Henry Brody do about it? Can he try and fight back with half a lap remaining on the way up to Erdell's hairpin? This has caught out a few riders over the weekend. Another rider going down there, that's coming through the Stewart S's down the back end of the circuit. But it will be Henry Brody, or Mason Fedric rather, who leads the way coming into St John's for the final time.
Final time round for Mason Fedric. He leads the way and he leads the field through 1.1 seconds. It was last time around. Henry Brody in second place. He was shaking his head earlier on. You always have to wonder if he knows there's nothing he can do. If a mistake for Mason Fedric, all it takes is for you to go in that throttle just 0.1 of a second sooner than he should have. But Mason Fedric, what an important race it's been for him, and what a confident building race it's been from him as he crosses the line and takes the race win from Henry Brody. We'll wait to see who's going to claim that 3rd place. It's going to be Kai Hawkin. Kai Hawkin on the number 20 now, coming across the line and rounding out our podium place. So Mason Fedric winning, a big grin on his face there. Henry Brody 2nd and Kai Hawkin 3rd. And what a dramatic AC40 Rookie race. We had the championship leader crashing out. We had almost all the front 3 rows having to crash that time out. So very, very important race for these guys, because it certainly taught them 1 or 2 things, as now we see some riders coming across the line at the moment. Nelly Nuth, Logan R, and Arthur Rich coming across the line. But happy man is the number 5 of Mason Fedric, as he adds a win to his name.
And crucially, he closes the championship down to 84 points. At the start of this race, Jensen Ansel could have walked away this weekend as the AC40 Rookies champion. Now he mathematically cannot do that. So that is absolutely monumental for Mason Fedric rather, to go out, lose the bike, get collected by Jensen Ansel having a high side, get back on and still win. As here we will now get the full results. It's Mason Fedric taking a brilliant win in race 1 here of the AC40 Rookies. Henry Brody getting overtaken in the last few laps. He drops down to 2nd after a great start from 7th on the grid. Kai Hawkin rounds out the podium with Caelan Ratcliffe in 4th. Daisy Polden was P5, with Jensen Ansel only managing to get up to P6. Your championship leader now cannot leave round 6 as champion mathematically. Tommy Williams was P7 after a fall earlier. Neville Nuth was in P8. Logan Orr was 9th, and Arthur Rich rounds out the top 10. Jensen Cedras with 11th, with Danny Longhurst in P12. James Rich was 13th. James Dermott was 14th. A great result for him from P21 on the grid. Austin Dilks was 15th. Ethan Bailey 16th. Samuel Whitaker 17th. And unfortunately, it looks like we lost Freddie Taylor, Emerson Oakley, Finley Stiles and Max Johnson. And now we are getting ready for the AC40 Pros, as we have not the largest grid here that we've had all season, but a strong grid nonetheless. And Lewis, obviously, it's been raining a little bit early. It's a little bit slippy out there. We've seen some of our other junior Minimotos riders struggling out there in these conditions. What do you think these guys can do to go out there and achieve their results?
Yeah, they're going to have to go out there and just take it as it comes. These are the type of conditions where the track is changing every single time you go around it. One corner can be wet, and then next time you go around it's slightly drier. It can potentially be slightly slippier once the track starts to dry up, because it can get slightly greasy, but you can see the dry line just ever so slightly starting to appear. But definitely at this side of the circuit, it's nowhere near as quick as dry, and this is almost at the bottom of the circuit, while the other side, which we've just seen, is right at the top. But in the AC40 Pro class, we have 7 bikes on show for this one. But it's been incredibly close in qualifying. The front 2 riders 50 thousandths of a second separated them in pole position. So Sebastian Keselowski is going to be our man on pole position, but in the championship lead in the AC40 Pro class, it's Taylor Tomlinson, a 67-point lead from Keselowski. And Will Ross, it's almost reminiscent from last season in the AC40 Rookie class, where we've seen Keselowski and Tomlinson go head-to-head.
Oh, Tomlinson and Keselowski, firm friends on the track, or off the track rather, firm rivals on it. And this is a great chance for Sebastian Keselowski as well. Of course, he swept last time out of Clandale, 3 wins to his name, while Taylor Tomlinson could only manage 3 third places. With Keselowski on pole, Tomlinson starting in P6, even though he was only 3/10 off of pole position, shows how tight these guys are out on track in the AC40 Pro. It's only 3/10 separating first down to 6th. So that is phenomenal, and it's a phenomenal opportunity for Keselowski to close back in the championship as well. 67 points. Tomlinson cannot leave here as champion mathematically. That's not possible, but it would be possible at the next round unless Keselowski has a monumental weekend and can chop that championship down again and again and take it right to the wire. We saw a similar thing here last season as well in the rookies class, as we see there Mick Williams, Mr. Mini F1 Sidecar himself, watching along with some of the junior riders. I'm sure he's having a great day. Of course, hello and welcome wherever you're watching around the world to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. A big shout out to Mike Elms as well, Mick Williams, normal passenger. We know that you're watching along, and we hope that you recover from your injury very quickly and that you're having a great time at home. But as I was saying, last year in the AC40 Rookies, it was a similar story. Tomlinson came into this round with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Sebastian Keselowski, 3 wins in a row in the wet as well, and closed it down to 40 points. The championship gap was at the end of that season. So I'm sure that Sebastian Keselowski, with Taylor Tomlinson starting 6th, he'll be looking for a similar result out there today. Just get that championship gap down.
Yeah, getting that championship gap down. These are the type of conditions which that can happen in. All it takes is one little slip, all it takes one little fall off, or even for the rest of the season, just one mechanical, and it can open up a whole new can of worms. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season for the AC40 Pro guys. We've seen it slowly coming down. We've seen actually even last season in the rookie class, Tomlinson, sometimes he can be his own worst enemy with making mistakes and crashing out of the race. But you can see some of these riders having a little chat, having a little sit, and actually Marco sitting on top of Henry McCartney and Byron Johnson also in that melee of riders between these guys, and Harris as well having a little seat, but these guys enjoying themselves as they await to see what is going to happen for them today and what's going to happen for these futures, because of course at FAB-Racing we are on the road to MotoGP, officially recognised by Dorna. And if you just have a look at the British Talent Cup Championship, you can clearly see this is where all the top riders come from and where they learn all their racecraft for their future. But Ross, you can see the riders coming onto the grid now, and already tension is certainly starting to build for this one, because as we've seen in other races, and actually this weekend, Taylor Thompson down in 6th in this one. Is this going to be the circuit where potentially it starts to unfold?
Well, it was definitely his bogey circuit last year, and this was the circuit where Sebastian Keselowski capitalised last year as well. So we're going to have to wait and see what Taylor Tomlinson do, what Keselowski can do. As Sebastian Keselowski does start on the pole position with a 56.105. Rex Austin starts in 2nd with Josh Perkins in 3rd. Nicholas Dunwoody is 4th with Logan Cousins 5th. Taylor Tomlinson in 6th, and Oliver Hall rounds out the grid in P7. Only 7 riders out there, but again, we've seen it's tricky conditions. We've seen some great races this season with not many riders out there as well. Rowrah, it's a brilliant circuit. And as we mentioned, Taylor Tomlinson, it's his bogey circuit as well. It's just the one where it never quite seems to go right for him. Apparently, we've also found out that Bradley Curtis is also joined in at the back of this grid. So we'll have 8 riders in this one. He's just hopped on from the rookies after winning in race 1. He didn't do any qualifying. He's just jumped on the bike and he's going back out again. He will start in P8. So there you go. Winner on race, do another. Why not? It's just a normal Saturday for him.
Bradley Curtis in the wet conditions at Rowrah. We've seen how quick he's been. So starting from 8th position, do not count him out. Potentially he can be one of the riders that can battle for this race win. Just wait and see, folks, what's going to happen as we await for these riders to have the final checks. So Sebastian Gosowski and Rex Austin looking ready to race on the front row of our grids. We await for the riders to have their final checks, and final checks to be done on the track, and the point to the lights to be made by Lou Klaus, our start marshal here at FAB. The revs will rise, the tension certainly has, and now the lights go on. And the lights go off and we go racing. Sebastian Gosowski, what a start that was there for the 64 machine. Rex Austin in second position still, as Josh Perkins still doing his best to defend from Logan Cousins, who's charging through on the 7 machine. Taylor Thompson on the 77 diving down the inside, and Nicholas Dunwoody as soon as he possibly can. I cannot see Bradley Curtis. He was at the start in grid of this race and he's not there. There he is at the side of the circuit, absolutely livid this time out. He went from smiles to misery for Bradley Curtis, has stopped at the side of the circuit and he's not pleased with that one.
No, it just looks like a mechanical issue there for Bradley Curtis. A big shame, but it will be Sebastian Gosowski who leads the way on lap 1 with a phenomenal start. We know he absolutely loves it around here at the Cumbria Kart Racing Club. He just flies around as we got some oil down, actually. That's over at Erdell's hairpin. Marshall is quickly trying to sweep it up. Yellow flags will be out, but we've not had any information about stopping the race, but they're quickly dumping down what looks to be sand or cement dust. Racing is still going on, although there will be red flag conditions, and I'm sure that they'll get out of the way as the bikes, as we can see, heading onto the straight before coming into the McRae's hairpin. And that top 3, Gosowski, Austin, Logan Cousins in P3 with the fastest lap last time out of 103.550. So a pretty competitive lap time there. Again, nothing like the laps we were achieving last year. The rain has still come down, and yet great to see the Marshals getting out of the way. Of course, Marshals doing a fantastic job this weekend. As there we see Gosowski actually losing position there. So Rex Austin slides into the lead on the way down into the stewardesses. Nice move getting the drive out of the corner.
Great move from Rex Austin, taking the race lead, and now it's a trio at the front battling for the race lead. And Logan Cousins just at the back of this trio at the moment. He's just watching this all unfold, potentially hoping that these guys are going to start ruffling each other's feathers up, as now he's looking down the inside at the final corner. That would be very far back if he were to try that. But the number 7 versus 64 and the 991 who leads the way, Rex Austin, by 7/10 of a second. We've seen there the Marshals doing a great job at getting out of the way and actually getting that dust down on the circuit to stop these guys hitting any other track that's been contaminated. But Rex Austin, he's going to be the rider that's hitting that first once again. So always the rider that's always testing the conditions every single corner. As Logan Cousins diving down the inside, he looks like he has maybe something else. Is now going either side of that cement dust. Logan Cousins looking down the inside this time around. Will he make it stick on the number 7 machine? On the brakes is now tipped in by Sebastian Gosowski. Closed the door, and Gosowski looks like he doesn't necessarily have the pace, but he's doing a great job at defending.
I'm wondering if Gosowski has a slight problem. Maybe he's just struggling to get the drive off the corner that Austin and Cousins do. So we'll have to wait and see, but he's maintaining for the time being as Taylor Tomlinson in P4 after a start from P6. He sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:01.060. Unfortunately, Oliver Hall did not start this race either, which is why there's only 6 bikes out there, and we lost Bradley Curtis on the opening lap. As actually Rex Austin crossing the line last time, sets another fastest lap, a 1 minute dead 9:71. A little bit off the lap record from Mason Foster in 2018, which is 54 seconds of 4.434. But again, the conditions, you've got to factor that in. But these guys are getting faster and faster, more confident with each passing lap. The conditions getting better as well. The tyres getting warmer. You know, all of these factors come into it. As here we see once again Gosowski under pressure from Cousins, who tries to go around the outside, coming into the Stewart S's this time. That's a brave manoeuvre, but he's got the drive off the corner, coming down the back stretch of the circuit and into St John's. Can he have a little bit of a go? No. A little bit too far back. Gosowski holding on to second, 9/10 off of Rex Austin in the lead at the moment. Austin absolutely flying. Here goes Cousins once again. Does he have a look into the final corner? No. Gosowski shuts the door, but it was definitely close, and I think Austin may have made a mistake somewhere as well, because the gap between the top 3 has closed right up with only 4 laps to go.
It's closing up, and now 3 may become 4 because Taylor Thompson set yet another fastest lap of the race. Now you can see him in the back of your shot in the 77, but Logan Cousins in 3rd. He's watching this all unfold still. He's looking like like the man who's on a mission at the moment and wants to be battling with Rex Austin and not Sebastian Gosowski. So now number 7 trying his best, getting the drive. He's seen last time around, oh wow, he was almost on the grass, but you can see last time around he made the move here, or trying to make the move here, and this time around he does make it stick on the number 7 machine. So Logan Cousins into second place, and now on a mission charging towards Rex Austin. Rex Austin, he's going to have to start pushing on pretty soon because Cousins is a man on the move.
He is indeed, and don't count out Taylor Tomlinson as well. He is absolutely flying. Fastest lap last time on 1 minute dead, 0.806, and he is now not going to be far away from these guys. You come to the back of the shot. Logan Cousins, of course, now up into second place with 3 laps left to go. Taylor Tomlinson only 2.1 seconds away. The gap is dropping. You will see him here. Goslavsky looks to the inside on Logan Cousins. Can he make the move stick? Brilliant job on the brakes by Goslavsky, but Cousins gets the switchback and the drive coming up the backstretch, and will have into Airedale's the better line. Can Goslavsky get back through on the brakes? No, but he certainly gives it a go. There is the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson. Each time this top 3 is fighting, he is getting closer and closer and closer. There's only 2.5 laps left to go, but that might be all the time Taylor Tomlinson needs. We know he is ruthless, and the second he sees a gap, he goes for it.
He definitely does, and now Sebastian Gosowski is going for it after getting overtaken. Third position, he's trying his best to close in that gap as soon as he possibly can. Logan Cousins now diving out around the outside. Will he make it work? No, he will not. He backs out of it, tries to get the drive onto the main straight towards turn 1. We cross the line now to make it just 2 laps remaining. Rex Austin versus Logan Cousins, and now we await to see who's going to take the honours of this trio. It looks like Taylor Tomlinson. It might be too much, too late. He cannot bridge that gap and close that gap with just 2 laps remaining. But Rex Austin in the 991 trying to stretch a gap as soon as possible. Cousins still in second. There is Taylor Tomlinson, and he looks like he cannot close the gap. The championship leader, it looks like as well, championship gap is going to go down. I don't think he's going to be too concerned, but his main rival is in third, just 1 place ahead. So in fourth place, your championship leader came into this round with a monumental 67-point lead, and now he's still looking confident, but he's still unable to close that gap, still doing personal best, and actually last time around 2 tenths quicker than the front 3. But now they come across the line and they come round the final corner to make it just 1 lap remaining.
Lee Clowes, the flag marshal, holds out the last lap board. One more tour of the Cumbria Kart Racing Club for these riders in race 1 of the AC40 Pros. Here we see once again Cousins having a look on Austin. Oh, almost touching down into McRae's hairpin. Maybe Goslavsky can capitalise on this, but it will still be Rex Austin holding station coming through Airedale's. Logan Cousins did set the fastest lap of the race last time, a 1 minute dead, 0.093. Goslavsky has dropped away from this battle. It's all about Austin and Cousins now as they head into the back end of the circuit through the Stewart S's. Cousins looking left, looking right. He just cannot spot the gap. He gets a good drive out of the Stewart S's into St John's now. Just a few corners left to go as Goslavsky is closed right back up again. It may be miracles into the last corner from Cousins or Goslavsky. Who's going to hold on as we head into Paddock Bend? Cousins looks to the inside, but Austin closes the door. It will be Rex Austin who takes the victory in race 1 of the AC40 Pros. The top 3 separated by a quarter of a second at the line. Phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. Rex Austin gets the win with Logan Cousins second and Goslavsky in P3. And Taylor Tomlinson just missing out at P4. But what a race for the race 1 of the AC40 Pros.
Incredible battle between the front 3, 4 tenths of a second separating the 3 riders at the line, and there is your race winner. There is Rex Austin. Thumbs up to everyone watching at the side of the track on the 991 machine, and Logan Cousins second place, and Sebastian Gosowski actually on that final lap of the race, setting the fastest lap of the race with 59.632. Sebastian Gosowski, maybe a couple of more laps, we could have seen him make a bigger impact. Taylor Tomlinson though in fourth place, he's just a little bit off. It looks like he didn't have enough to catch up to the front 3. The front 3 looked like they were in their own class that time around. Josh Birkin, though, rounding out the top 5 this time around on the 30 machine. He had one or two issues throughout the race and making him unable to catch up. Nicholas Dunwoody, he got passed early on by Taylor Tomlinson, and they shot off into the distance as there is the celebrations inside of the paddock. Matthew Thomas, Oliver Hall and Byron Johnson celebrating there with them. So yeah, everyone pretty happy. Byron Johnson's dad also gave them a little pat on the back. But these riders just shows what FAB Racing is all about. It's a real family atmosphere between these guys, and it's a real friendly atmosphere. Byron Johnson, he's almost just taking one of the bikes for himself and just holding on to it at the moment. Nicholas Somebody joining in on the celebrations there after a 6th place finish in the AC40 Pro class. Not the biggest grid in the world, but some of the best racing that you can see in minibike racing. 0.4 of a second separating the top 3 is already. You can see some riders in the holding area waiting to go out for the next race. But these riders still going out onto a wet circuit. Though it looks like the sun is starting to creep out, as now we await to see what's going to happen next time out. Coming up now is the Premier Class here at FAB. It is the LS2 helmets, Mini GP70 British Championship. The riders making their way out of the holding area in any moment's time, and it's going to be an interesting one for these guys. The best class that we have here at FAB, and some of the best racing. It's going to be a 10-lap race this time around for these guys. So just 10 laps for these guys to race around. It's been a packed field. It's been a packed field of talent, actually, throughout this whole season in the LC40 Mini GP70 British Championship. Luke Fitchett, our championship leader, just 23-point lead for Fitchett. 6 race wins throughout the season so far. His last race win, though, all the way at Red Lodge. And Blake Wilson in 2nd place in the championship. 3 race wins at the moment, and he'll be hoping for a great result here today. But the best class that we have here at FAB, and Marco Holt as well, he'll be hoping to get out, and he'll be hoping to get a better race and a better season than what he's had so far as the riders head out on what is going to be their warm-up lap this time around. Just 10 laps for these guys. It's going to be a very, very tight battle at the front, it seems, in qualifying. We've seen these riders be super close in lap times, and actually in the lap time wise, the front row of the grid separated by just 0.3 of a second. So super interesting for these guys. What's going to happen in this race with Marco Holt going to be our man on pole position. Archie O'Brien in 2nd place on the front row of our grid. And it looks like at the front of the field is going to be a close battle between O'Brien and Holt. But what we've seen with O'Brien is that he struggled with his starts 1 or 2 times. At the moment.
Yeah, we know Archie O'Brien is one of his very, very few weak points is his starts. And it's been something that he's struggled with ever since he stepped up onto geared bikes, and it's been something that he's been trying very hard to get on top of, to be fair. And, you know, they've torn this his 50 bike apart, trying to figure out what was wrong with it, because he was struggling last year in the 50s as well. And, you know, sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he doesn't. But what he does have is raw pace and raw talent. So we're going to have to wait and see what he can do as we get ready to go racing sometime soon. So, yeah, should hopefully all be interesting.
And now we go racing here at Rowrah for the LS2 helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. Mark Holt was on pole position, and he has got an incredible start to this race. Archie O'Brien, who we've seen multiple times that he has struggled with this race, and now we await to see what is actually going to unfold, as Eamon McIntosh as well wants to be one of our Scottish riders that's making the trip to Rowrah for this time out. Of course, the furthest north that we go throughout the whole of the UK is the Rowrah circuit, but Marco Holt, he's going to be hoping from a good start from pole position. Blake Wilson, the man who's been having a great season so far, in 2nd place in the championship. He was starting from 2nd place on, well, 3rd place on the grid as well, on the number 85 machine. So now we await to see what's going to happen with these guys. Bill Harris as well, 5th place He's been around that all season, it seems, as Bill Harris. A very, very consistent rider. Usually is the Harris family. But Austin Johnson on the 27 machine, 6th place as well as they come across the line to complete the first lap of the race. Archie O'Brien is the man in the race lead. Mark Holt actually doesn't look like he's there just yet, but maybe just a slight transponder issue at the start of this race.
Yeah, Blake Wilson takes the lead from P4 on the grid. Archie O'Brien in 2nd place. Marco Holt is in 3rd with Luke Flatcap Fitchett in P4. Bill Harris is 5th with Austin Johnson in 6th. Wilson Dilkson 7th. Jensen Bishop is 8th. And Hamish McIntosh rounding out the grid in P9. Now, of course, LS2 helmets, Mini GP70 British Championship. It's a very close battle this year. Of course, you've got Flatcap Fitchett, the reigning 50s champion. He's sitting at the top of the table. It's only 23 points back to Blake Wilson in P2. And then again, only 27 more, or 4 more points rather, back to Archie O'Brien in P3. And then Marco Holt, another 4 points back in P4. It's a very close battle again. Whoever comes out on top in this championship has big shoes to fill. The reigning champion, of course, the first ever back-to-back 2-time LS2 helmets Mini GP70 British Championship champion, Ethan Sparks. A phenomenal rider. Obviously, he's now down off in Europe doing his thing and pursuing his motorcycle career beyond what we can offer him at FAB-Racing. And of course, all the best to him. We wish him all the best, and hopefully he comes back and maybe does some pit bikes or some Extreme 200s one day. If you're watching along, Ethan, we hope you're enjoying the show. But, you know, that's a titanic championship battle between 4 superb riders. I mean, those are some of the best guys in the entire paddock right now: Fitchett, Wilson, O'Brien and Holt. And, you know, at the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and there's going to be 3 very disappointed boys out there, unfortunately. But it's so tight. You know, you really cannot describe what's going to happen. It really could be anybody's race as anybody's championship rather, as Blake Wilson maintains the lead from Archie O'Brien in P2. Marco Holt there, fastest lap of the race, a 52.633. Absolutely flying at the moment is Marco Holt. He's a few tenths faster than everybody else, but just to put that into perspective again, the fastest, the lap record rather, set last year by the double champion Ethan Sparks, a 48.699. So the conditions still not perfect out there.
Still not perfect at the moment, but 0.2 of a second separates Blake Wilson and Archie O'Brien at the front of this field. 7 laps remaining in this race, and the lap record of this was Ethan Sparks. And this just speaking about Ethan Sparks, he's currently racing this season in the Mini GP Austrian series, but of course on the road to MotoGP as Ethan Sparks. He's such a quick rider and looks to be one of our talents for the future from the United Kingdom. And another one of those as well, Casey O'Gorman, a champion here in the Mini GP 70 class previous. He'll be racing this year at Cadwell Park during the British Superbike weekend in the British Supersport class. But Marco Holt, fastest lap of the race this time around, 52.5. Second position now there from him is Archie O'Brien. Made a mistake that time around, made quite a massive mistake as he drops right down the order.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien either having a problem or coming off the motorbike. Hopefully everything is okay, but he is dropping it down the order. It's Wilson from Holt from Fitchett. Your top 3, Austin Johnson in P4. And it looks like Archie O'Brien's day may be done. Of course, still 2 races to come tomorrow on Sunday, but that is a real shame for Archie O'Brien. Of course, currently P3 in that championship battle. Anything that goes wrong at this stage of the season with only a handful of races left now is absolutely crucial. Everything has to be perfect to be champion. Of course, you know, the bike has to run. You have to be at the top of your game. Unfortunately, that's the way it is in motorsport. Sometimes it all comes down to luck. And so hopefully everything is okay for Archie O'Brien. He can get back out tomorrow, get back on the bike and get some strong points. It's interesting to see Blake Wilson up there at the top. Of course, Blake Wilson, he's been around the Fab Paddock for a few years, and he's come in this year and has absolutely blown everybody away. Currently sitting P2 in the championship, only 23 points off of Luke Flatcap Fitchett. He's leading the race at the moment and doing a phenomenal job out there. And, you know, that number 8 rider, I feel like no one really expected him to come through like he has.
Yeah, Blake Wilson, last couple of rounds, I should say, he's been